buddy. Oh, buddy, we had a day yesterday.
Listen, here's the deal. If you call enough shots, something's gonna land.
The law of averages.
And we got it yesterday. So, yeah, I'm with you on it being a long night because I did not stay to watch the whole game because once it got to about 15, I think it was like 69, 54 or something like that, I was like, all right, I'm cool.
Yeah, I think once you got to about the 5 or 6 minute mark left to go in this game, I think at that point you have seen enough. Mm-hmm. I think, enough has been seen at that point to really get the gist of what happened.
Yeah, that's it. Game. I got the Cliff Notes. I think I'm good. I don't need to finish this. I'm good. I think I know how this movie ends.
Like me reading a book in high school that I really wasn't into at all, and I just completely neglect reading it until the night before a test, and I just go on Spark Notes, and I got everything I need. Mm-hmm. And that was good for most of those type of endeavors. Mm-hmm. I did play with a little bit of fire at times, and had to really BS my way through it. But life lessons, sometimes you have to fake it to make it in those situations, and I did. But last night, if you wanted the Spark Notes version, you could have we just watched it to the 5-minute mark and you got what you needed to, right? You got really the whole spiritual gist of the game. South Carolina comes out hotter than a pistol for the first, 10 to 15 minutes of that game. I think it hit 6 of their first 10 threes. Defensively, still not playing great. I thought they played with good intensity on defense at the beginning of the game. They were communicating really well, and that's one thing I like about being on the floor for these conference tournaments is you can tell who communicates on defense and who doesn't, right? You can tell who gets blindsided by a screen and who doesn't. You can tell which teams are playing more connected on that side of the floor and who just isn't. And they were playing pretty connected, even though there were still some breakdowns. I think that's kind of just part of the team's DNA, is that they were never going to be a great defensive team. They were going to have flaws when it comes to handling certain things like ball screens. But then in the second half, it got worse. And then you just had no answer. And the 3-point shots stopped falling. I remember sitting there thinking, okay, you got a 13-point lead because it's about as big as the lead ballooned to in the first half. Like, okay, you got a 13-point lead. You're not going to shoot like this all game. How do you respond when Oklahoma inevitably makes a run? Because Oklahoma was the more desperate team. This is a team that was on the next 4 out going into this game. And it was a bad day for the bubble. And what I think is, from what I have read too, a historically bad bubble. And I don't even need to read that. I just need to watch the teams that have been on the verge of missing the NCAA tournament, watching how they've played this weekend and how they've played the last couple of weeks to know this is a bad bubble. So Oklahoma's probably looking at this with an opportunity. That they're playing like their season is on the line. So they were going to make a run. They weren't just going to lay down and quit, right? And my whole thought process was, how do you respond when they do? And they just weren't up for the challenge of responding, especially when it came to getting stops. Offensively, I think it got sloppier in the second half. You started turning the ball over a little bit more. The shot selection was, it was all right. You just weren't making the ones that you were taking. And Oklahoma was. And I remember talking about yesterday, Nigel Pack's not going to go 0 for 7 from 3. Mm-hmm. And as a matter of fact, he did a lot better than 0 for 7 from 3. In the minutes he played last night, he was 5 of 10 from 3. That was more of what you should expect from a player, or a shooter rather, of that caliber. And you just could not, for the life of you, get a stop on Oklahoma in that second half, and that's why they were able to kind of cruise to almost 1.4 points per possession over the course of the entire game.
Yeah, and as you watch the game, casual observation, Nigel Pack, for somebody who's a shooter, does not have a very pretty shot.
No, and it doesn't help that he's like a little shorter too. I mean, he's listed as 5'10". When you're sitting on the floor, it feels like a 5.
He's not quite that.
9.
You know what? That makes a little bit more sense because he definitely has a shot that looks like, how a middle schooler shoots, like chuck it.
Yes.
He, like
Yeah,
tries to shoot it from his hip.
So much oomph from the bottom of it just to get it.
Yeah, but I mean, it works for him, and so that's interesting. But that was last night was the first time I really paid attention to him. I was like, oh, that's not aesthetically pleasing for a guy that's supposed to be such a shooter. Aside from that, I mean, I don't know. My formula's been simple all season, and it just didn't happen. It was Michi +1, and if you don't get the Michi and you don't get the +1, it's going to be really difficult to win these games. Michi played hard. He was aggressive early. Then it felt like he started settling a little bit more for his shots, and he wasn't making them. And I felt like that's when the offense got into a little bit of a rut.
Yeah, and for Michi, man, yeah. I felt bad for him knowing this is going to be his last, collegiate game.
Mm-hmm.
There's always been, as long as he has played here and really in his career, a duality of Michi. There is Michi who is knocking down some of those long 3-point shots. That is, getting to the rack and finishing. And I thought he was aggressive last night. I mean, I don't think he played with a lack of aggression by any means. Just he only made 3 of his 15 shots, just not going in. Had some bad bounces on some floaters. Had some bad luck shooting. He got a lot of the 3-point looks he wanted.
Yep.
And just it wasn't happening for him. And you could almost feel the frustration. He started turning the ball over a little bit. He had 4 turnovers last night. It was one of those things that go through the game. I started to feel bad. Like this, it's very unfortunate that your career ends in a game like this, which makes me even more happy for him that he had the game he had to end the regular season and had a moment that he had to end the regular season. But you got the +1 with Kobe Knox. I thought Kobe was great last night too. I mean, in terms for the team that has been so poor at offensive rebounding, I think Kobe Knox grabbing 5 offensive rebounds for you and helping your team be a 44% offensive rebounding team last night was a little bit of a surprise. If you'd have told me that they would have grabbed 44% of their missed shots, I'd be like, all right, you're going to give yourself a chance to win. And it looked like you did for the first, I would say 25 minutes of the game or so. Defensively, it just all broke down. And I think that's kind of the big thing is defensively, you just got beat so many times. You had so many miscommunications. It wasn't like Oklahoma was doing a lot of elaborate stuff, Preston. They just ran a lot of ball screens, and you couldn't guard ball screens. You couldn't rotate well enough on the weak side of ball screens, and they found somebody cutting from the opposite corner, or they would have a big play out of the short roll and make an extra pass and find a corner shooter. Like Darion Reed killed you from the corners in this game. He's a really good corner 3-point shooter. It was just one of those things that all year long you've watched this team struggle to guard a ball screen, and that was just magnified in a game like this when your season is on the line. Playing any more basketball hinges on whether or not you win this game, so there's a little more heightened importance on it. And a team that does run ball screens really well, even if they weren't knocking down shots the game you played them a couple months ago, were knocking them down last night. And if you weren't able to contest them the way you want to, it was going to be a long night for you on that end. And that's how they gave up 86 points.
Yeah, but you mentioned it earlier. You can't fake desperation. Like, as much as you're trying to play hard, as hard as you think you're playing, you don't have the same motivational goals as Oklahoma has. And so, because what are you going to do? You're going to win one more game? And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you know that. You try to put it in the back of your mind. You're going to go out there and compete. But everybody that's involved in the organization knows and understands this the same way the other folks on Oklahoma understand that, hey, we win this game, we advance, we get a chance to get off the bubble and maybe make the tournament. So there's different motivational factors that are come to play. But that didn't affect, like you said at the beginning, it didn't affect the effort. They played hard, which is also to say that that's kind of all they had all year. And you probably shouldn't expect something to be different in Game 30 than it's been all year. Game 35 or whatever number this is.
Right, yeah. No math major. Remember, 13 plus 19 is 32. I guess Game 32 on the season. Like, and that was the thing is I watched a lot of it last night, and I'm like, defensively, I thought the effort was there, and we did have to have the effort talk in a few games, whether it be Florida or Arkansas, and a few of the games that end up getting really out of hand. We had to have the effort and intensity conversation, But when this team has given like a, great intensity and great effort, which I think is more often than not. I mean, I think I alluded to the exceptions rather than the rules with them. They still were succumbed to their basketball limitations. Mm-hmm. And it was a roster that had a lot of limitations just from a basketball sense. And that beat you last night. And it beat you a lot of games this year. And it kind of became the story of the 2025-2026 season, is that you may have liked the effort and the intensity and the desperation that you played with, but the limitations kept you from achieving any of the goals that you would have set at the beginning of the season. I think that sums up the year pretty well. But coming up next, we're going to put kind of a bow on the season in terms of how we will remember the 25-26 season, which games throughout the course of these 32 stood out the most to us in terms of how accurately it portrays how this year went down. We'll do that coming up next here in the early game.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence. Gamecock fans, get ready for something new this season. Charleston now has a new station for Carolina sports talk. Dial in to 96.9 The Game on HD3. Head to 96.9 FM and on an HD radio, punch into HD Channel 3. You'll unleash live Carolina coverage you can listen to all day long. New on HD3. It's 96.9 The Game HD3, South Carolina's newest sports station.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
All right, y'all, we've been telling y'all that you need to get your setup ready with the folks from Integrated Media. Your outdoor setup could be ready. Of course, you're not going to be able to watch men's basketball anymore. Maybe, thankfully. That's okay. Women's basketball is still on the table. Big basketball tournament coming up, big golf tournament coming up, and the folks from Integrated Media can help you with all of that. What can they help you with? Samsung Terrace TVs that are waterproof, Wi-Fi that works indoors and outdoors, so you can have all the games playing at the same time without having to suffer any lag time. iPad, laptop, whatever you need to be playing electronically, the folks from Integrated Media can set it up and have you all taken care of. From home theater to adjusting your thermostat, Nathan and Michael are who you need to call. Call them at 803-948-8327. That's Integrated Media at 803-948-8327. Or you can reach them online at integratedmediainc.com.
2 words, prostate exam. Relax. Screening starts with a simple finger-free blood test. Around 1 in 8 men in the United States will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime. Prostate cancer can have over a 99% 5-year relative survival rate when caught at a localized or regional stage. If you're 40 or over and have a prostate, visit relaxitsabloodtest.com to see if a PSA blood test is right for you. Talk to your doctor about screening and the next steps. Sponsored by Novartis. Tires matter. They're the only part of your vehicle that touches the road. Tread confidently with new tires from Tire Rack. Whether you're looking for expert recommendations or know exactly what you want, Tire Rack makes it really easy. Fast, free shipping, free road hazard protection, convenient installation options, and the best selection of General tires. Go to TireRack.com/Dan to see their General tire test results, tire ratings, and reviews, and be sure to check out all the special offers. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
Plus tax tags and title with approved credit. Call 888-320-6359 for details. The all-new JT's Kia is officially open with their new state-of-the-art showroom designed to make your buying experience fast, friendly, and hassle-free. Get grand opening 0% financing for 60 months on new Kias. Put no money down and JT's million-mile warranty. Plus savings up to 10 grand off new Kias and up to 5 grand overbook value for your trade. Get to JT's Kia today, I-77 at Killian Road or Greystone Boulevard. Boulevard.
Vista Roofing, your local CertainTeed Select Shingle Master. Looking for a roof that's built to last? Trust the certified experts at Vista Roofing for professional installation, top-tier materials, and peace of mind backed by industry-leading warranties. From repairs to full replacements, Vista Roofing delivers durable results and exceptional service. Call now or visit VistaRoofingINC.com to schedule your free estimate. Vista Roofing, raising the standard one shingle at a time.
Hey guys, Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central here to make sure your business and property parking lots are kept available from any unwanted cars taking up your spots with Schroeder's Towing. For instance, you're coming in hot to the game studios for your show and you park next door in an unauthorized lot with signage that was provided for free from Schroeder's Towing. Next thing you know, the show is in the books and your car is out of the lot. It really is that simple. That's a true story. Call Schroeder's today and keep those unwanted cars out of your lots. Online at schroederstowing.net.
Just dial pound 250 and use the keyword tow truck.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
Looking for a dealership that treats you like family? Come to Herndon Chevrolet, where we've been proudly serving Lexington and the Midlands for over 50 years. Whether you're shopping for a new or pre-owned vehicle or just need expert service, you'll find it all right here. Shop online anytime at HerndonChevy.com or stop by and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile.
It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
Highway 321 at Glen Road. We do have a report of an accident there. And your forecast for today, this morning, could see maybe a couple thunderstorms mid-morning, and then that will be getting out of here. 71 is the high we'll be left with. Sunny and 67 tomorrow, 77 with sunny skies for Saturday. So again, the rain is very possible mid-morning, about 9, 10, 11 this morning is when we could be expecting that to come in. Right now, it is 68, 107.5 The Game.
With former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
The 74 loss to Oklahoma in the opening round of the SEC tournament. One could assume that is the end of South Carolina's season, I think safely. Now, we don't have the sound just yet because it was so late when that presser happened. But I can tell you, Lamont was asked about whether or not he would consider accepting any type of postseason invite if the NIT were to call. Last year, it was a little more of a question. It's just because there were only 2 teams in the SEC that didn't make the NCAA tournament. There'll be a lot more of them. So I don't think the invitation will come. But if it did, Lamont says he's going to seriously think about it, and that's going to be contingent on whether or not the players are going to be fully motivated to play. So I think for all intents and purposes here, we should assume the season has been a wrap. So that leads me to ask the question of how we're going to remember the 2025-2026 South Carolina Gamecocks when really putting a bow on this season. And Preston, I think the way that I'm going to remember this is learning, the importance of being competitive, I guess, in NIL resources, about that putting you in the ballpark, and B, the do's and do nots, I guess, of roster construction. That is a lesson that we can kind of learn here. And that if you don't build a team and maximize the amount of funds that you have, and you have more than 1 or 2 misses, then you're going to be at a real disadvantageous situation. And I think that's what this team found themselves in all year, is a team that never really learned itself. I think this is a lesson in what can happen when you are building through the portal, almost exclusively. Now, there were a couple of freshmen that played serious minutes, like Grant Polk played a lot of minutes last night. EJ Walker started. Eli Ellis got a lot of minutes off the bench, but You had a couple of freshmen that were on the team that maybe didn't get a lot of minutes, like a Hayden Simeon. You redshirted one, but for the most part, you brought in a ton of transfer portal players, and it took a long time during the season to be able to figure out exactly what the right combinations of players were. And development was way too long, or took way too long, I guess, to take place.
Elijah, you ever heard the phrase, all good things come to an end?
I have.
Well, there's a flip side of that coin. And sometimes it's good when things end.
Yes,
absolutely. That would be the flip side. It's good that this is over. This season has been a slog. One of the mantras of this show is, if you can't be good, you can be fun.
Mm-hmm.
This team was 0 for 2. They were not good.
Yep.
They were not fun. How do I know they were not fun? Because they lost the dunk contest every single game.
Every single one, including last night.
And as a casual fan, if I'm tuning in not for the victory, listen, I'm good with basketball under the rim. It's probably my favorite brand of ball, to be very honest. But if we're playing under the rim and we're not playing well and we're not shooting the ball well, it's going to be very difficult to ask fans to continuously tune in to that style of basketball. And so for me, this year was even now, Elijah, this is where you can step in and you can say, yes, Preston, but they were technically better than last year, right?
I mean, I can.
You can say that.
That's something I can physically do.
You can do that. However, even last year's team, maybe it was just because they had a lottery pick on them. Maybe it was because CMB was there and that was fun to watch. But last year was more entertaining. To me, this was the worst of the Lamont Parish years. I guess the first year had the promise of GG and the new coach. The second year, obviously, we know how much fun that was. Last year, they just found all kind of zany ways to lose games at the end. This year was, like, I mean, it was just difficult to get through as a fan. And that's sort of the way that I will remember this year.
And I guess how records can be a little deceiving, too. I mean, last year you won only 2 SEC games, but last year you showed a few times that you were pretty close in certain ways, right? Like you lost a heartbreaker because you couldn't finish the game against Florida.
Mm-hmm.
You lost a heartbreaker against Auburn. One was the national champion and the other was a team the national champion beat in the Final Four. You had a lot of one-score losses last season in SEC play, and what was the best best version of the SEC in men's basketball we have ever seen and will ever see. So I think, while the record was really bad last year, like worse than this year, I still think you could maybe look at last year's team as being better and more competitive against better competition.
Mm-hmm.
This year, there is the whole element of, if you can't be good, be fun. And we had an expectation that the team was going to be a lot better when it came to three-point shooting.
Shoot the pee out the ball.
And what we saw in the first half was shooting the pee out the ball.
Correct.
And what you saw in the second half was not shooting the pee out the ball. And what you saw in the second half last night against Oklahoma was more reflective of what you've seen in this team the entire season. You ranked 318th in three-point percentage. You made 31% of your threes. And three-pointers made up 44.5% of your shot portfolio. That is a level of frustration.
Hey, wait, Elijah, say that one more time, slowly.
Ooh, you made 31% of your three-pointers this year.
Okay.
That ranks 318th in college basketball, Division I college basketball.
Okay.
So the three-point shot made up 44.5% of your shot portfolio.
Gotcha.
Not great.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one thing that we talked about all throughout the season that never improved to the level that you were banking on in order to win games. You had 2 7-footers on the roster, and they struggled to stay in a rotation, right? Last night, Kreese DeSandico was a DNP. Jordan Butler didn't get subbed into the last 5 minutes of the game. So you played undersized all year long. Therefore, you were not a very good rebounding team. Going into last night, you were outside the top 300 in offensive rebound percentage because you did grab 40+% of your missed shots last night. That puts you at 293 to end to end your season. In defensive rebounding, you were 263rd. Not numbers you want to be in. You look at, some other 4-factor things that are really key to being able to win games. They took care of the ball well, but they, again, didn't force a lot of turnovers. That's not Lamont Paris's bag there. But when it came to just shooting from the floor overall, not just 3-pointers, but 2-pointers too, you were outside the top 220 in that regard. Defensively, your opponents shot well enough to put you at 193rd in that regard. There are a lot of things this year that I think we just talked about over and over again. Some things improved and some players improved. I think there was some development, but I think we did end up just playing whack-a-mole with problems for a lot of the year, and nothing ever got fixed to the point where you felt good about winning a lot of games in SEC play. One of the many things I'll remember, I guess, from the season. But coming up next, we're still chopping up the Lamont Paris side from last night because that was a late press conference, let me tell you. But Tanner Bronson did speak with the radio broadcast after the game. We will get some of his takes, the assistant coach for South Carolina, on what went wrong this season, and then we'll give our take on it as well. That's all coming up next here on the early game.
Wow, what a play! The Game Network, Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
This hour of in-show listening on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by QC Kinetics in West Columbia, the non-surgical regenerative orthopedic specialists of the Midlands. Request your consultation today at qckinetics.com.
Hey, it's Jen for Carolina Stone Craftsman. Are you looking for a countertop for a kitchen or bath? Well, look no further than Carolina Stone Craftsman. Just outside Columbia in Chapin, they have a huge selection of the highest quality, most affordable granite, marble, and quartz, and they provide the best customer service. It's a very simple process. Great countertops with no compromises, and you need to really visit them to see what I mean. You can see the craftsmanship of each slab. They're beautiful, one-of-a-kind indoor showroom, and they have an incredible outdoor showroom as well to really showcase their custom hardscape creativity as well. But when we needed some countertops for a couple of bathrooms, they did great. From every step of the process, continue to be fantastic. If you're in the market for countertops for your kitchen or bath, do reach out to Carolina Stone Craftsman. Tell them Jen Jensen sent you. They are family-owned and operated just beyond Columbia and Chapin and beyond your expectations. Check them out online, carolinastonecraftsman.com.
What's in your wallet? Capital One offers no fees or minimums on checking accounts. And most Capital One cafes are open 7 days a week to assist with your banking needs. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank. Capital One NA. Member FDIC.
You never know when a moment might become a memory. With same-day glasses at iMart Express and 2 pairs of single vision starting at under $40. Or 2 pairs of progressives for under $80. We're here to make sure you're ready anytime they do. From the most mundane Monday mornings to the most surprising Saturday nights. Get everyday savings for every moment. iMart Express. Get glasses. Go see.
Plus, text tags and title with approved credit. Call 888-320-6359 for details. The all-new JT's Kia is officially open with their new state-of-the-art showroom designed to make your buying experience fast, friendly, and hassle-free. Get grand opening 0% financing for 60 months on new Kias. Put no money down and JT's million-mile warranty. Plus, savings up to 10 grand off new Kias and up to 5 grand over book value for your trade. Get to JT's Kia today, I-77 at Killian Road or Greystone Boulevard.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Sponsored by Woodman Life, protecting hardworking families with life insurance.
Woodman Life believes every hardworking American deserves to leave a legacy. Life insurance helps protect what matters today, so your values, love, and security can keep growing long after you're gone. Get your quote at woodmanlife.org. Woodman Life is the brand name for Women of the World Life Insurance Society in Omaha, Nebraska. Add number A0135.
At Average Amy's Coffee Corner, our coffee has caffeine, our muffins are cooked, and our services, well, we're here. Come on by for an average cup of joe.
Average doesn't build great businesses. Cumulus Digital does, outperforming industry benchmarks by more than 25%. We deliver smarter digital marketing to over 4,000 local businesses every month and drive real, measurable growth. You're not average. Your marketing results shouldn't be either. Visit cumulusdigital.com to start outperforming today.
Hate paying for streaming? Well, the 107.5 The Game app is free. Yes, free. Just download the 107.5 The Game app. It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot. Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
One accident, Highway 321 at Glen Road. Aside from that, traffic moving fairly well. We are expecting maybe some rain mid-morning, potentially a slight storm in there as well. 71 for the high, then it'll clear later today. Sunny tomorrow, 67 for the high, sunny and 77 on Saturday. We will get back into 60s and 50s actually next week, so we'll enjoy the warmer temperatures for the remainder of this week and weekend. Right now, though, it is 68. 107.5 The Game.
The Early Game. With former Gamecocks Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen. On the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
So last night after the game, after South Carolina's season-ending 86-74 loss to Oklahoma, assistant head coach Tanner Bronson did address Derek and Judge Casey Manning over courtside at Bridgestone Arena while Lamont went to talk to the team and then address the media at the SEC tournament. Tanner talked for a little bit, gave some insights on the season, and before we hear from Lamont later in the program, I do find it always interesting what the assistants have to say too, because of how much behind the scenes work they do in terms of game prepping and everything of that nature.
Yeah, and also they have their own minds, and so we haven't heard from him all year. So it's really interesting. I've literally never heard Tanner's voice, so this is going to be very fascinating to me.
So we'll get to the big picture stuff here too, in terms of looking at the season as a whole, looking at what went wrong, because nobody goes into a season, let's be honest with ourselves, nobody goes into a basketball season saying, you know what, 13 wins is the goal. 4 wins in the league play, that's the goal. Not finishing last is the goal, even though you can technically say you finished above expectation. Technically, that is something you can say and not be incorrect.
Elijah, they picked us to finish 16th, and they were wrong.
So take that.
That's what you get when you underestimate us. Pick us last again next year. Dare you. Dare you. But technically speaking, they did finish 14th and not last. But clearly, all jokes aside, not a successful season. This is Tanner Bronson on the radio broadcast after the game last night. So we cut 7, Jen. This is assistant coach Bronson talking about, in his perspective, what went wrong for the team this season.
I know Coach mentioned a lot of times, our shooting overall. I think we thought this team would be a good 3-point percentage shooting team. I don't know what we ended up tonight, 38%. That'd be more what we thought we'd have on a regular night, which you put up 74, you still got a chance. But, I think that was part of our struggles this year, and obviously the interior physicality and rebounding was something that we've always, we've struggled with here once we got to league play. And, there were some things that we improved on. I think guys like Kobe Knox, even Michi's game improved significantly. Some guys kind of found their way within the system, and I think we shot the ball a little bit better in the last couple games, but, we just still couldn't quite get the stops and do the physical things that we needed to overcome a really talented SEC.
I think Tanner hit on a lot of things there, Preston, that I think are accurate. I mean, the clear thing he started with was the shooting element of this. Not shooting the P out of the ball was not something they, I guess, planned on this year. And I guess when you're going to be a little undersized, that's something you need to be able to do. But even in a night like last night, where the 3-point percentage was good, right? The 3-point percentage was good enough to win you games on its own almost. I mean, you made 11 threes. You were at a smidge under 38%. But defensively, you just got picked apart so many times last night. I think it was some of the same defensive issues we've seen with this team this year. And when you're not rebounding particularly well throughout the entire season, now last night on the offensive side of the ball, you rebounded better than you have at any point during the year, but you're going to be at a disadvantage every single night in that regard. And when it came time to development, he did mention some of the development successes, which was Kobe Knox, which I think was Michi Johnson too. I mean, Michi did lead the SEC in SEC play and assist rate. I think that is development, but some of the development that happened took too long to happen. And by the time some of that development happened, the season was pretty much already out of reach.
Right, and the idea about the development, and this goes back to, and I don't love talking about the next year while the previous year is still going, but now that the season's over, we can move forward. That being said, they talked about the crunch that they have as far as recruiting is concerned and how they have to get on it and get to the players. My question sort of would be like, what is going to change in the evaluation process? Because he mentioned specifically the lack of physicality inside. Well, that's not going to be part of Jordan Butler's game.
No.
It wasn't.
It's not.
It wasn't when he got here. It hasn't. He did manage to take some 2-pointers this year, so I guess that is improvement, but that's not part of his game. Creased, he's gonna have to work on his speed and agility. Now, and here's another thing, Elijah. We talk about this all the time as far as if you don't have this, you better have that. So Creased, you don't have a lot of speed, you don't have a lot of agility, mobility. You better sharpen your elbows, dog.
Right. Play as big man, not tall man.
You better be big man, and you better be as tough and physical and nasty as possible because you don't have these other physical gifts. And so you're going to have to bring something else to the table, and none of the big guys did, and that's going to be an issue. And so when they're going out shopping this year, I would imagine that's going to be very high on the priority list of things. We need to find big dudes who play like big dudes, not tall men.
Yeah, and you got to be able to have somebody who is an aggressive rebounder, right? Like somebody who crashes the glass with a lot of authority for offense or defense. Look, there are so many games this year when we kind of looked at the 4 factors. The other team had such a better offensive rebound percentage that unless you were significantly better shooting from the field, you weren't going to win that game. Some of the issues that they had weren't just little things. Like if you look at a team, I know this is a more extreme example because of how good they are, but like take Florida, for example. Florida's not a good 3-point shooting team at all. They have been a really bad 3-point shooting team for almost the entirety of the season. They don't have any great 3-point threats on the team like they did last year. And is it a flaw that can keep them from winning a national championship? Sure, but they do so many other things incredibly well that most of the time it simply doesn't matter. With South Carolina not being a good 3-point shooting team, they are a slightly above average when it comes to 2-point efficiency. Right. And at the beginning of the year, when you're playing opponents that you had a little bit of a size advantage on, that number was significantly greater, but you got into SEC play and that percentage kind of fell back to the mean. Right. There was some regression in 2-point shooting for this bunch. it's not just one thing for South Carolina. It's been a bunch of different non-starters. Like for Florida, they could win games without making three-pointers because they're so good at many other things. You didn't find many other things that you could ultimately hang your hat on. Like, is it good that you were top 40 this year in turnover percentage on offense? Yeah, absolutely. I want you to take care of the rock. That's great. Turnovers can absolutely kill runs. They can take you out of games. Great. But do you do anything with the basketball in your hand to put the ball through the hoop consistently and well? Do you do things defensively to keep the other team from putting the ball or keeping the ball out of the basket? No. And it was just, you didn't have one strength on this team that could make up for some of those differences in a large manner. And that's why we end up kind of regurgitating a lot of very similar results once we got into SEC play.
Yeah, and they started the season with a false premise. The premise was that they were going to be able to shoot the P out the ball. And then Tanner just said, like, oh, yeah, we didn't shoot it as well as we thought we will. Well,
we shot the Q out of it.
Exactly.
Just a different letter.
Exactly. Listen, man, if that's what's the strategy going into the season and then it's not working, it's kind of like, oh, what are we doing now? I don't know.
And if that's what you're banking on, and it felt like that was kind of what was being banked on. If you just look at, like the roster and the lack of size, the methodology behind that is we are going to shoot so well that things like rebounding deficits and maybe free throw rate won't kill us. But if that first part doesn't happen, those things will not only kill you, it will amplify how you are not shooting the ball. And I think that was a big highlight of this season was you looked at how other teams were just kind of manhandling you from a physicality standpoint. And then you look at the missed shots thing and it's like, is there anything that you can do to give you any sort of advantage once you get into SEC play? And you never got an answer from that all season long. I'm hanging out here in Nashville for the rest of the week too, covering the SEC tournament sponsored by Griffin Pools and Spas. And as part of that, we will discuss other games from the SEC tournament because there were 3 games that happened beforehand, including a couple teams that really needed to win. And we'll tell you who they are next.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 96.9 The Game in Charleston, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach, and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
The Game phone lines at 803-404-6100. Sponsored by AAA Heating and Air. Now offering 12-month payment plans on all HVAC or electrical repairs with no credit check. Online at callAAAtoday.com.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
Eric DeCosta and the Ravens just need to embrace the fact that they did something that wasn't very nice. He got up at the podium and said the team is gutted that the Max Crosby trade fell through. They backed out of it, and they immediately found his replacement. That doesn't feel like you're gutted. That feels like you had a plan and the plan worked. Just say that. It's okay to admit that you're being shady in order to win. Winning is the name of the game in the NFL. I just need a little bit more honesty. I'm dead.
Find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, B21.
Come on. No. It's just a golf lesson, champ. Loosen up. I can't. See that Hyundai Santa Fe? Yeah. I only paid enough. Finish up on your own. I gotta run.
Deal's so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Get 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days on the Hyundai Tucson, Tucson Hybrid, Santa Fe, or Santa Fe Hybrid. Now, during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Hurry, offer ends March 31st. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
Save $10 on a pair of Rain-X Latitude wiper blades at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Our professional parts people will even install them for free.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can choose the best coverage option for you. Because you know you. Like, you know that hiking isn't for you. Sure, it sounds nice to be in nature while exercising, but that's what a gym and houseplants are for. I mean, you don't even like walking upstairs. So why would you walk up a hill for miles? To what, end up high in the air? Come on, you know you're scared of heights. Only you know you. So get coverage options within your budget with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Pricing coverage match limited by state law.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-859-3220. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 to 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-859-3220. That's 800-859-3220 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-859-3220. 800-859-3220.
The early game with former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
It was a busy day here in Nashville, and I've been covering the SEC tournament. Not just the Gamecocks' appearance in it, brought to you by Griffin Pools and Spas. And Preston, a couple of interesting results with various levels of desperation by the teams playing. I'll start with the first one with the team that Daddy Ball failed, that being the Auburn Tigers. It looked like they were about to get Hubbarded again for the first half of that game. And they did not look like a team, Preston Thorne, that was desperate to win that basketball game, because if they lost yesterday, it'd been a total non-starter. I don't think yesterday put Auburn into the NCAA basketball tournament with their 79-61 win over Mississippi State. It prolonged the discussion for another day. And when Josh Hubbard hit a couple of his first early shots, I thought, oh, buddy, the Magic 8 Ball is going to not be very kind to Auburn. But then ultimately, Josh Hubbard shot them out of it. So Auburn can breathe for at least one more day a sigh of relief.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't say I'm cheering for that to be the results of that. I did see a video clip. They were making fun of Junior Pearl about his locker room speech again, and it felt like he was giving another ChatGPT rendition of a locker room speech.
Oh no!
Where he was trying to convince the team and maybe also the media, whose the cameras were conveniently inside, about how the team had the strongest strength of schedule and how they deserve to be in the NCAA. And it was like, who are you talking to here? It was like, are they talking to the team? Or are they talking to the media at large? But anyway. Yeah, I guess we're going to have to keep that experiment going.
Preston, as a player, what would your reaction be if before the biggest game of the season, Lou Holtz would have walked in, rest in peace, would have walked into the locker room and said, guys, you have the greatest strength of schedule in the country.
It's wait, who else is in here? Who are you talking to? I don't even know what that means. That's what I'm like, I don't even know what that means. What are you talking about?
Coach, how does that help us today? I'm sorry. I can't go out in the field and be like, hey, buddy, I want to dominate you on the line of scrimmage. You know why? Because we have the toughest strength of schedule.
We have the strongest SOS here. We are ready.
I joked with Terry about it yesterday. I was like, Terry, me and you, we've been in a lot of college basketball gyms. We have seen a lot of different banners. You see banners raised for conference regular season titles, conference tournament titles, NCAA tournament appearances, Sweet 16s, Final Fours, you name it. There's a lot of banners that you can hang in college basketball. I have yet to see one that reads #1 in strength of schedule. If somebody has found one, correct me if I'm wrong.
He was pleading his case, man. And I guess the win helps that. So congratulations.
Yeah, they did avenge their loss to 13-win Mississippi State yesterday. They'll have Tennessee today. Now, if they really want to make a case for the NCAA tournament, that's a game that you're going to have to win. Another team that I think really needed to win, that's kind of that is firmly on the bubble is Texas. They're 18-13 going into that game, Preston Thorne, and they got beat by Ole Miss, by 15 seeded in this tournament, Ole Miss, and they lost by double figures in a game in which Ole Miss led for almost the game's entirety. And that one was the most surprising result of the day.
Following up on the plot points from the season, is Texas still finding new and inventive ways to foul teams?
Yes, and last night it was new and inventive ways to give up baskets. Okay. I will say, defensively they were better in the second half because Ole Miss did hit some really tough shots. But my God, the lack of defensive intensity when they got out on the floor yesterday was insane.
See, that's what happens as a coach when you tell them to stop fouling. They're like, hey, we'll just stop playing defense.
Coach, that's our edge. What's really funny about Texas, though, is if you pull up, the KenPom page, you look at offense and you say, oh, you're third in the country in free throw rate. That's awesome. How well are you keeping other teams off the free throw line? And then you look at their defensive free throw rate, and it ranks 305th. It's disgusting. They're just a gross basketball team. They have so much talent. Texas is one of the biggest disappointments. Sean Miller, I don't think came in and helped out much. Sometimes I watch that team play and I can't tell if it's Rodney Terry or Sean Miller coaching. I really can't.
That's interesting.
I really can't. I mean, Dalen Swain is an all-SEC player, one of the best scorers in the entire league. Jordan Pope's been playing in the SEC now for Texas for a while. Tremont Mark has been playing high-level college basketball seemingly forever now, and a really talented player. Cam Heide, they got from the transfer portal, was a valuable role player at Purdue. Modest Vokatitis is one of the best big men in the country when it comes to drawing fouls. That'd be Modest Vokatitis.
Okay. All right.
That is not a medical condition.
It feels like
the center. That is the 7-foot center for the University of Texas, my friend. Nothing that you have to take an antibiotic for. The antibiotic he gave the team, though, was getting to the free throw line all the time. I mean, he was third in free throw rate and fouls drawn per 40 minutes. This team had everything you need from a talent perspective to be a shoo-in for the NCAA tournament. Now, contend for the SEC? No, but they're going to sweat it out on Selection Sunday despite having no business sweating it out on Selection Sunday. Without a doubt, maybe the worst coaching job of Sean Miller's career. And I'm sure the folks in Texas who may be a little frugal with their money are going to be really cool with that type of performance. Hour number 1 in the books. Hour number 2 coming up, though. Preston called it, and we'll hear the Nostra Preston prediction that came to fruition yesterday coming up next.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.
Preston here for our friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. If your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. It's a cracked windshield, no problem. They'll come out to your location and they'll replace it for you, usually for free, and they'll work directly with the insurance to take away the headache. That's right. They'll come out to wherever you are. School, home, work, it does not matter. Absolute Glass will come out to you and take care of the job for you. Now, if you're at home, you're looking to increase the value of your home, Absolute Glass can take care of that for you too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. Say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
Sponsored by Odoo.com. All your business apps in one place. Your business deserves tools to make you feel in control, not overwhelmed. With Odoo's all-in-one, easy-to-use platform, everything is together so you can focus on what matters. Start at Odoo.com today. That's ODOO.com.
Plus, tags and title with approved credit. Call 888-320-6359 for details. The all-new JT's Kia is officially open with their new state-of-the-art showroom designed to make your buying experience fast, friendly, and hassle-free. Get grand opening 0% financing for 60 months on new Kias. Put no money down and JT's million-mile warranty. Plus, savings up to $10,000 off new Kias and up to $5,000 over book value for your trade. Get to JT's Kia today, I-77 at Killian Road or Greystone Boulevard.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS? Whether it's due to job loss, a divorce, a new business venture, or you just didn't file your taxes, don't lose hope. Powerful relief programs are now available that can help you and may reduce or even eliminate what you owe the IRS. With the cost of living affecting millions across the country, Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying anyone with $5, $50, or even $500,000 in back taxes to the IRS to call to get relief options. With over 1,000 5-star Google reviews and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, TRA is America's trusted choice for real tax relief. Relief options are now available that can give you a fresh start and peace of mind. End your tax nightmare today by calling our tax relief hotline. Dial 800-390-8478. 800-390-8478. That's 800-390-8478. Or visit TRA.com. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass. It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
Highway 321 at Glen Road still in progress, so approach that area with a little extra caution. Going to see some midday morning showers today, then that should be clearing out. 71 for the high, then the overnight low, different than what we've had because that cold front is coming in. Overnight low of 35. Tomorrow the high of 67, overnight low of 43. And then Saturday, 77, Sunday, 78. So a little change in our weather pattern. Right now, 68.
Home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station. Back to sports. The early game with former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network. 107.5 Game app and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Hour number 2 of the early game starts right now. I'm Elijah Campbell live in Nashville, Tennessee at the SEC tournament with my coverage being brought to you by Griffin Pools and Spas. Back home in Columbia, South Carolina, Preston Thorne and Jen Jensen. And I don't know if Preston Thorne kept the tinfoil hat on, but I think if you are maybe vindicated with your conspiracy of the day, do you keep the tinfoil hat on, or is that like I can remove this now because this is proven to be completely accurate?
That's the problem with conspiracy theorists in general, is that sometimes they actually get proven right, and then you have to listen to the rest of their nonsense for the rest of the time, because occasionally, like the broken clock theory, you know what I'm saying? At least twice a day, it'll be right. And here we are. But this, okay, there's two parts to this, Elijah. The first part, the conspiracy part, was the idea that Max Crosby failed the physical. That was the conspiracy part. Because as I stated yesterday, and I state again if you weren't here listening yesterday, NFL teams, an NFL player can essentially fail a physical at any moment because obviously, they play in the NFL. There are things that are wrong with their bodies at any time. And so it's really more on it's not a pass-fail thing. It's more on a risk assessment. Do we want to take this risk with this player's body at this moment, given the condition that they're in? That being said, with Max Crosby coming off of surgery, coming off of meniscus, this provided a little bit of a window for the Ravens to at least justify their actions, in which I think they went going to make the deal. They were acting a little bit out of character for them by giving away those 2 picks because that's not what they do. And I think they got cold feet and they found a loophole to get out of the deal.
And that certainly was a loophole, and certainly one that also presented its own risks, right? If you went through the physical of Max Crosby and you weren't 100% enamored with the progress that he was making from his meniscus tear surgery and the likelihood that he's going to be 100% by the time you get to training camp, then you do run the risk of technically failing him at the physical, which as we've learned with these physicals, you can fail for anything. The goalposts move with every single set of team doctors and teams. But you run the risk of not addressing your biggest need. And that's one of the reasons why I was so shocked by this, right? Is that pass rush was their biggest need. They were one of the worst teams in the NFL when it came to getting pressure on the opposing team's quarterback. And if you have a perceived championship window and you don't address certain needs like that at very important positions. Again, I kind of liken the game of football to being boiled down to 2 positions that matter the most. Do you have a really good quarterback, and do you have a guy who can terrorize the other team's really good quarterback? The Ravens have one, they don't have the other. And they finally got their filthy mitts on the other, and they decided not to accept him in because of the medical stuff. You run the risk of not being able to bring in somebody like that. And as soon as we got the news that Trey Hendrickson was going to sign with the Ravens, former Bengals defensive end, one of the more consistent defensive ends in football, then, especially when it comes to getting to the quarterback, then it kind of became a little abundantly clear of, they knew Trey Hendrickson might be available, and he might be available at the price tag they liked, and maybe they could have gone into that physical of Max Crosby with a little bit more of a critical eye than they did if they didn't have that information.
So, yes, all of that. But yes, here's the thing though, Elijah. I mean, I wasn't mad at Cincinnati last year or the past 2 years essentially when they were telling Trey like, yeah, I don't know, dog. We're gonna sign you for a year, but we're not committing to you long term because there's a couple of things at play. It's not as if Trey Hendrickson is without injury. In fact, last season he did not finish the season. Why, Elijah?
Injury.
And did he have surgery on that injury?
Indeed, he did.
Would you imagine that when he went to the team doctor, the same one who failed to clear Max Crosby, and he saw Trey, he was like, "Oh, yeah, no, you're good." Well,
two thumbs up, buddy.
So he's without injury, and he's 31 years old. And if you want to, he's older, right? He's significantly older than Max. He's 31 years old. He's coming off an injury, and to be honest, he's not as good a player as Max Crosby. They got a good player. He's not as good. Why is he not as good? Because he doesn't play the run at all. He's essentially a pass rush specialist. And you want to get really deep into the weeds here, Elijah?
Oh yes, you know me. I'm ready. Let's dive.
I think Trey Hendrickson is an effort guy, and there's nothing wrong with that. But his pass rush essentially comes from a lot of second effort, pushing the pocket, persistence, which is always something you need on defense. But I'm not sure if that's the thing that you can bank on as you get older and you get more injury prone.
Oh yeah, because you're going to lose some of that strength, right?
Right.
Or you're going to run into offensive tackles who are much younger and stronger, and your second effort won't be enough to break them past their point of protection, because they're just going to have more stamina, right? And that's the thing. I mean, that's a really good point, because I have watched a lot of Trey Hendrickson in his time in New Orleans. That was one of the players that they just couldn't keep because their salary cap situation got so messed up that they had to let a lot of really good players go. And Trey Hendrickson was one of those players. He was part of that 2017 draft class that single-handedly opened up a championship window for him. And he doesn't have like a really good spin move. He doesn't have like any type of like jab step thing that kind of gets him a step on somebody, but he's kind of just a bull rush guy or second effort guy. Like he's just going to try to run through you. In some instances it works because he is strong. Like he is a strong man, And sometimes if a quarterback is patting the ball for more than 3 seconds in the pocket, it's going to eventually break down, and Trey Hendrickson will tackle you even if he's got or is being held by an offensive lineman. That's the type of edge rusher that he is.
Exactly. That's a great point. And Elijah, I promise I am not being lazy here, okay? So follow me.
Okay.
I understand the tendency, since we're talking about two white defensive ends, to make a direct comparison to them. They are totally
Sneaky athletic.
Yes, they are totally different. I would say Max Crosby more along the lines of sneaky athletic. Similar to, if we're going to do our SAT here, Max is to TJ as Trey is to JJ.
Oh, okay.
You feel me?
Okay.
Max is to TJ as Trey is to JJ. Where I think, like, when you watch TJ Watt, he's sneaky athletic. He got it. He has some wiggle, and he can make any pass rush move that you need. JJ is awesome, but he's kind of a straightforward guy as far as having the movement, the lateral movements. And I think you can make the same sort of comparisons. I promise I'm not being lazy here, but I think you can make the same sort of comparisons with Trey and Max.
Wow, it kind of blows my mind a little bit because that is stunningly accurate. I mean, like J.J. Watt was a freak of nature from like a bodybuilding standpoint. The guy was just jacked. Again, he wasn't, Dwight Freeney with the swim moves or the spin moves and all that. Like he didn't have what, the kids in basketball would call having a bag.
Yes,
right?
There you go.
Having a deep variety or an arsenal or a repertoire of moves that you could just bank on getting to the quarterback. He kind of has to use his raw strength to be able to break up a pocket and make life, miserable for a quarterback. Like TJ and JJ both get to the backfield, and they both got there in different ways. They got there effectively, and they did it different ways. And it's kind of the same thing for Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby, which makes perfect sense. I think that paints, honestly, a really good and accurate picture as to the type of players that Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby are. And I think the question that when it comes down to assessing the decision that the Baltimore Ravens made, when weighing out the pros and cons of this, is it worth to turn away Max Crosby? Because I read off, the statement that Max Crosby's doctor gave to Adam Schefter, where they said, look, you are evaluating him pretty early in the recovery process, early to the point where it's probably not going to look as good, but he is ahead of schedule in his recovery. They expect him to be fully healthy by the time, training camp arrives, and that he's going to be in top shape. So they clearly don't believe that is an issue, which of course it is. Take the messenger into account here. I don't know if a doctor's going to say, yeah, I didn't really do a good job on that one. Sorry. Yeah, Adam, I might be cooked.
Not my best work.
Not my best work. I've got better examples to show you. That's not going to be the case, right? But if you assess now the decision of turning away Max Crosby, getting Trey Hendrickson instead, who is 2 years older, also coming off an injury, but you're receiving the 2 first-rounders that you gave to the Raiders. You get those back in return. Is that the safer pick? Because I certainly think the higher ceiling would have been getting Max Crosby. Maybe the more beneficial one to them would be getting Max Crosby.
I think they're and again, there's very few front offices in the NFL that you could say, I trust what they're going to do, and I think the Ravens are one of them. You could say, all right, well, if they have a plan, if they think it's a plan, as a fan, you could be like, all right, we're in good hands with that. That being said, it felt like the Max Crosby was a push to go all in right now, whereas this one feels a little bit safer, and it felt like the Ravens got cold feet. They're like, we're going to be crazy. We're going to be wild and crazy. Oh, no, I don't think we're going to do this. I can't do it.
I'm going out with the boys tonight. 9:00 hits. I don't want to be out with the boys tonight. I want to get in bed.
Well, yeah. Y'all are doing what? Oh, no. I didn't plan on that.
Goes to the first function, and it's like, oh, this is fun. 9:00 hits. Hey, we're going to another bar down the road. Oh, we're going to another one? There's more?
and it's something to be said for the Ravens because they are traditionally very conservative. The way they handle things, they don't make a lot of splash. They build through the draft. They build through sparingly free agency, And this was a little bit out of character for them. And I think they looked in the mirror and said, hey, this is not us. We're doing a little something different here. They're trying to wear bangs and stuff. And they're like, hey, that's not us. We don't wear bangs.
They put on like the risky fashion choice outfit they got out in public, and they went to the bathroom for the first time at whatever establishment they're at. And they looked themselves in the mirror and said, what am I doing? Who have I become?
Yeah, nobody.
The polo shirt was a safe bet.
Give up polo.
Am I doing this? Just immediately grossed out by your own appearance because you took a little bit of a gamble. I think that is a lot of what happened with Baltimore here. And it's wild that they just, luckily for them, they had the luxury of just getting to choose between two all-pro caliber defensive ends.
It's a good thing.
The quarterback with regularity.
Yeah, it's a good thing Trey Hendrickson was on the market that they can do that. The only thing is that obviously the NFL knows. What I don't like about this is that there's the national idea that, that Max Crosby failed a physical. And that's not what happened. They failed him, but he didn't fail the physical. And I think those are two different things. Obviously, the people in the NFL know and understand that, but I wonder what the national narrative would be.
Yeah, because the physical isn't quite like your driver's license test. Like you can pass or fail because of something you do or don't do.
Right.
Right. They pass or fail you because they are looking for very specific things. It's because the Ravens failed him in the physical does not mean that if Max Crosby got traded to, let's just say, Jen Jensen's Chicago Bears, the Chicago Bears can look at that same knee and same, physical report and say, oh, yeah, buddy, we like what we got. Come on. Hope you like Portillo's, right? Like that's how that could probably end up going. It's going to vary team by team. And I think that's kind of what makes this entire situation more fascinating to me than anything else. But coming up next, it's the early game morning meeting. I don't know if the information that I'm about to give out here in this next segment is something you would consider ultra fascinating in terms of what the discovery is. But now that Lamont Paris is 4 years into his tenure, he will get a fifth. I wanted to take a look back at other SEC or South Carolina coaches in the SEC era and what did their first 4 seasons look like and see if we can find any conclusions here. We'll do that for the morning meeting coming up next.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network, Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
Friday, April 3rd, the Spring Golf Classic at Charwood in West Columbia with our buddies Rock and Daniel Lucas. And we have Saki's Morning Libations Bar before tee-off. Also, the classic onion sausage presented by the Lexington Gamecock Club. Yeah, I know you're going to ask. We have the golf gun. All that Friday, April 3rd. Again, $400 a team, $100 for an individual. 803-755-2000 and press number 2. April 3rd, it's the Spring Golf Classic from the Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.
All right, guys, maybe you're feeling like you lost your edge. You're working out. You're not getting the results that you're used to. Things are not feeling the way that they used to. That's okay. Take a deep breath. Call the folks at the Men's Clinic with Dr. Dan Baltnight. He's a respected local physician, and he'll get to the bottom of why you're feeling the way you are. Now, remember, Dr. Dan Baltnight is not some faceless online program that you send your numbers to and they send your numbers back and you never know who you're dealing with. Dr. Dan Baltnight personally tailors your treatment based on your labs and symptoms. And, oh, yeah, those labs and the symptoms, your initial consultation is absolutely free. You can get your T-level checked with Dr. Dan Baltnight. So don't wait. Call him at the Men's Clinic at 803-875-MENS. That's 803-875-MENS. Or you can visit him online at mensclinicsc.com.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Liner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass.
Plus tax tags and title with approved credit. Call 888-320-6359 for details. The all-new JT's Kia is officially open with their new state-of-the-art showroom designed to make your buying experience fast, friendly, and hassle-free. Get grand opening 0% financing for 60 months on new Kias. Put no money down and JT's million-mile warranty. Plus savings up to 10 grand off new Kias and up to 5 grand over book value for your trade. Get to JT's Kia today, I-77 at Killian Road or Greystone Boulevard.
Want to unlock the power of athlete marketing to grow your business? Garnet Trust has recently launched a business membership program, making it easier than ever for your business to work directly with a USC student athlete. Visit garnettrust.com today or call 803-250-1765 to see your business boom.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HIM to 215-215 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HIM to 215-215. That's HIM to 215-215.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Paid for by Adaptive Health.
It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
Highway 321 at Glen Road, there's an accident there. Also, Rawl Road at Pisgah Church Road, so be mindful of those areas. Thunderstorm possible mid-morning, and we are actually under a tornado watch until about 1 o'clock this afternoon. So FYI, the tornado watch until about 1. And again, some morning storms possible, 71 for the high today. Get through all that. It'll be sunny, 67 tomorrow. Right now, 68.
The Early Game. With former Gamecocks Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen. On the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Into the Lamont Paris era, which now we can look at with a little more hindsight going into year 5, because as we discussed a lot yesterday, he will be getting a year 5. For the morning meeting, I wanted to look at exactly how his first 4 seasons compared to the other South Carolina basketball coaches, men's basketball coaches, through the first 4 years of their tenure in the SEC era. So we'll take a look at that, and we'll see if we can draw any conclusions or find any parallels here for today's morning meeting.
Good morning. Good morning. Repeat after me. Today will be an awesome day.
Let's go. Good morning, great today. Today will be an awesome day. Good morning, great today. Today will be an awesome day.
Indeed, it will. And I tallied them up, Preston Thorne. I tallied up the overall record for the South Carolina men's basketball coaches in their first 4 years as the head coach at South Carolina, what their SEC record was in those first 4 years, and count of how many 20-win seasons and NCAA tournament appearances. So we'll start, obviously, with Lamont Paris. After 4 years, 62-68 overall, 23-49 in SEC play, 120-plus win season, 1 NCAA tournament appearance. Frank Martin, 70-63 after the first 4 years, 26-46 in SEC play, 120-plus win season, 0 NCAA tournament appearances. Now, he didn't get to the Final Four till the 5th year. So the next year was when Frank Martin was able to get to the NCAA tournament, get another 20-win season, and then maybe do a couple cool things in that tournament that we're going to remember for the rest of our lives. Darren Horn, in his first 4 seasons, 60-63, which I don't think he got a fifth. I think he was only there for 4 seasons. 60-63 overall, 23-41 in SEC play. Might have done some math wrong there. 20-plus win season, but no NCAA tournament appearances. Dave Odom, with maybe the most successful one in terms of wins, 77 wins, 55 losses overall, 26-38 in the SEC, however. 3 20-plus win seasons, but only 1 NCAA tournament appearance. And then Eddie Fogler went 62-56, 32-32 in the SEC, 1 20-plus win season, 1 NCAA tournament appearance. And I think it's well noted there, too, for Eddie Fogler. He did win an SEC East regular season title. Very important to note right there. So, Preston, you look at all those, you get the info of kind of how everybody was in their first 4 seasons. Where do you think Lamont Paris's first 4 seasons as the Gamecock men's basketball coach maybe fits in?
Okay. If I had to rank them, let's go King of the Hill. We're going to go Eddie Fogler 1.
Okay.
Eddie Fogler 1. And that's just off these first 4 years, because Frank is right outside with the 5, right. Frank is right outside, and we can't let what happened in the 5th year blind us. Eddie Fogler 1, Dave Odom 2. He ranks 4th. He's right. He's only ahead of and then it's just by numbers and looking at it, he's only ahead of Darren Horn.
Yeah, because I mean, fewer wins regular season than Frank Martin. 3 fewer wins SEC Lamont is than Frank Martin. The only difference is that with Lamont's 20-plus win regular season in the first 4 years, it got him an NCAA tournament bid. It did not for Frank, which I know a lot of people are still mad about that first snub with Frank Martin. And like rightfully so, I get it. You win 20-plus games in a year in any SEC season. You probably deserve some leeway. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was they lost maybe 1 or 2 non-conference games that were not ideal. Really? Yeah. I mean, Darren Horn's the one where you look at it like, yeah, like Lamont got him there because Darren did have a 121 season in year 1 with pretty much Dave Odom's players. And then it went downhill from that pretty quickly. I think one common denominator too, or one thing to kind of look at and really take into account is that for a lot of these guys, it did get better later. And that 4-year stretch, like if you look at Eddie Fogler, overall record 9-19 to 10-17 to 19-12 to 24-8. Progress seemed pretty linear there, right? Dave Odom, 22-15, then 12-16, 23-11, 20-13. More consistency with just a down year.
What year was that 23-11?
The 23-11. That would have been 2003, 2004. That was the NCAA tournament appearance for Dave Odom when they got beat by Memphis in the first round. And then you look at Darren Horn, it went 21-10, off to a good start, then 15-16, 14-16, and then 10-21, and he did not see a 5th year. And then with Frank Martin, it goes 14-18, 14-20, 17-16, then 25-9. And then the next year was the Final Four year. So there was certainly an upward trajectory for a few of them. My only concern here is for Lamont is that this is a downward trajectory.
And that's exactly
first year. And,
that's exactly what I was going to say, is the idea of trajectory. When you think about where the program is going or where the direction that it's heading, if it doesn't feel as if, especially at the end of this year, though, Elijah, what could you technically say about this year compared to last year?
Technically speaking, you outperformed expectations.
The trajectory is up from last year.
You were last year. Mm-hmm. You were not last this year.
There you go.
Baby steps.
That is upwards on the chart. Is it much higher on the chart? No, but it is technically upward on the chart.
Upward on the chart. So yeah, it's the idea of trajectory, and also the idea of how, because these are raw numbers, but also you get into the vibes. What's the vibe, man? The vibe with Darren Horn at the end of that thing was not good. There was a disconnection between the fan base, disconnection between the players, disconnection between all of the people who had a stake in the program. The vibe is not good right now with Lamont.
Mm-mm.
And that's where Lamont and everybody involved is going to have to do a bang-up job this offseason, probably starting today, of getting the vibes back up. And I don't know, that's where the social media team needs to come into play. That's where Donati needs to come into play. Lamont's going to have to make himself more accessible. We're going to have to figure out who these players are that they're bringing in. I need some highlight clips, some profiles, whatever the case. They're going to have to do a better job of getting us back on board, because otherwise the vibes won't be great moving into the next year.
Yeah, out of these 5 coaches, in which 4 of them have gotten a 5th year, Lamont is certainly in the toughest spot, or he's put himself in the toughest spot. Eddie Fogler was not in this type of predicament after year 4. Neither was Dave Odom. Neither was Frank Martin, because, again, we discussed the trajectory they were on. This is probably the most pressure-packed 5th year of any of the guys on this list, and solely because Darren Horn didn't get the luxury of having a 5th year, right? He was let go after year 4. So certainly a different one if you're trying to compare those first 4 seasons with everybody on that list since South Carolina joined the Southeastern Conference. This is certainly a situation more unique than the other guys that are on this list. But coming up next, though, we didn't get to do it yesterday because it was so busy, but we have Denny Green Awards to hand out. We're going to tell you who is exactly who we thought they were coming up next.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Everybody loves streaming till you have to pay for it. Just download the 107.5 The Game app and stream us for free.
Sponsored by KJ's Market. KJ's Market has grocery deals worth smiling about. This week, grab ground chuck, just $4.99 per pound. Or shoulder roast, just $5.99 per pound with digital coupon. Sign up for Smile and Save rewards to unlock extra deals. Price is valid until Tuesday, March 17th while supplies last.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance, making it easy to save you money. When you bundle your auto policy with home, condo, or renters, you'll earn a multi-policy discount. Easy to bundle, easy to save. Visit Progressive.com.
Columbia, make this spring the time you stop painting year after year and do what Greg did. He called Rhino Shield.
We live in a beautiful two-story home that was built in 1916. Really been prepped and painted very, very poorly.
And Rhino Shield? It's not paint, it's better.
We really had a lot of detail work in the team at Rhino Shield. They spent really a full 4 days just on the prep work, and we were so excited to see that.
Stop painting year after year and get Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
We've gotten numerous compliments, and we've actually even had some of the longer-term residents of our community thank us for protecting the integrity of our home.
Here's owner Dan Hoey.
This offer is limited, so call today at 833-RHINO-99 or visit RhinoShieldCarolina.com. Don't paint.
Don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
Plus, text and title with approved credit. Call 888-411-7640 for detail. March is a race against time at JT's Jeep Ram. JT is selling every single Jeep, regardless of profit or loss. Every credit application and offer accepted. JT's been challenged to sell 100 Jeeps, making deals the other dealers can't. New Jeeps up to $10,000 off. Grand Cherokees, Wranglers, Gladiators, even the all-new Jeep Cherokee with exclusive million-mile warranty. JT's Jeep Ram 378 Lexington or Greystone Boulevard. Declaration of Deal Sales Event.
Average Al's. Our chairs sit. Our tables stand.
You're not average. Your marketing results shouldn't be either. Cumulus Digital outperforms industry benchmarks by over 25%. See what Smarter Digital can do for you at cumulusdigital.com.
Start your day with Drake C. Toll.
I'm Drake Toll, on the air from 6 a.m. to 9 Eastern, getting you to work every day. To do that with Westwood One, the Oxford University of Names and Sports Media. Buckle up.
Then Black and Abdallah.
That shot was insane.
Is that what you would say on the air?
You're the play-by-play guy.
Abdallah being testy. All right, here we go.
And Westwood One Sports Night.
Stay on the line, get on the call, talk about whatever you want. That's what we're doing on Westwood One Sports Night.
Westwood One Sports Talk. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Everybody loves streaming till you have to pay for it. Just download the 107.5 The Game app and stream us for free. It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
I-26 eastbound, slow-going traffic between Harbison Boulevard and St. Andrews Road. Also have an accident reported Rawl Road near Pisgah Church, so might caution in those areas for slowdowns. 71 for the high today. We are going to see some morning showers, potential storms mid-morning, and we are under a tornado watch until about 1 p.m. today. That'll clear out. Overnight low, it's going to be cold, 35 overnight. Tomorrow's high, 67 under sunny skies, 77 on Saturday, but still kind of holding steady this morning at 68.
The early game with former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Get to do this yesterday, but it is one of my favorite segments every single week because in honor of my man, rest in peace, Denny Green, we tell you who has revealed themselves to be exactly who we thought they were. And Denny Green did say, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. And that's what we're going to do, Preston Thorne. That is what we are going to do since we didn't get to do it yesterday. We just moved it one day over. So, Preston Thorne, your Denny Green Awards for this week.
Elijah, I'd be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to do this. And I've been harping on this, and I've been saying, and it's been my motto for all year, but we were told that they were going to shoot the pee out the ball. And I watched this team all year. They never did. Now, the last ranking I saw, according to the NCAA rankings, and you might have one that's updated, had them at 327th in the nation in three-point percentage, 30.82. Do you have a different number?
On KenPom right now, it says that South Carolina at 31, 318th.
Ooh, improvement. Again.
Improvements.
Slight improvements.
That's what happened last night. That helped you out a little bit.
Elijah, the Gamecock men's basketball team is exactly who I thought they were about 10 games into the season. I was like, I don't think they can shoot. I don't think they're going to be shooting P out the ball. And I was told that it's going to be happening. It's developing. It's coming along. Never did. So my first, they are who I thought they were award goes to the three-point shooting of the men's basketball team.
You know, every, late winter, you get a week of really warm weather. And it convinces you the tide is turning, that spring is here. But it's that false spring because then it's going to dip back down to 30, 2 days later. The South Carolina men's basketball team was kind of like that with three-point shooting to start the year. I mean, you look at the numbers to start. First game against North Carolina A&T, 14 of 32. That's 43%. That's pretty good. You play Southern Miss, you escape, but you were able to hit 16 threes in that game. That's for 37% in that game. Ultimately very acceptable. And then you saw it go down. After the first two games, you're like, oh, yeah, it's non-conference opponents. Yeah, you're supposed to beat these teams, but they're making a lot of threes in the process. Could this be what we thought we were going to get? And then we learned pretty quickly that what we saw in that North Carolina A&T game to start the year and for a lot of that Southern Miss game was not going to come to fruition. It was kind of like a false spring in that regard. Shout out to our pal Walt. The Washington Wizards are exactly who we thought they were. It's one thing to give up, 83 points to one individual player. It is another to do it when you are triple teaming that player at a certain point in the game and you are trying to all but guarantee he does not make history against you. I would say if you want to keep someone from scoring 83 points, yeah, triple teaming them is fine, but don't foul them when you do triple team them. And they did every single time. I don't think there were any phantom calls there. They got really physical with them and they ended up fouling them. And then despite trying their absolute best not to have one player have a historic scoring night against them, they still found a way to fail in that mission despite going all out to triple team them, which seems to be just the most Washington Wizards thing on the planet. So, sorry, Walt, but your Wizards are exactly who we all thought they were.
In telling that story, you have to, I think the detail you have to leave out, you have to put in is that it's Bam Adebayo.
Still the funniest part of this whole thing. The funniest part of this whole thing is that somebody that if you gave me 100 guesses, I would not have guessed Bam Adebayo, maybe in any of those 100. And I probably would have gotten some real deep cuts, but I would not have guessed that Bam Adebayo would have been the one to do, that.
Yeah, because it's just not part of his game. It's just not his thing. He does everything else so well on the basketball court, which is what the value that he brings to basketball is that he can do everything. He can defend. He can play on the perimeter. He can get you a bucket. He can pass. He can do a lot of different things. But being a scoring machine is not necessarily his MO. So for it to happen against them is exactly who we thought they were.
Another one that I have too, the Gonzaga Bulldogs. You want to know why, Preston Thorne? This was their last West Coast Conference tournament because they'll be moving into the Frankenstein Pac-12 after this year. In that conference tournament, in the WCC tournament, since they formed, you want to know what Mark Few and Gonzaga's record is in that tournament?
Oh, if it's not something in 1, it's maybe something in 0.
In that entire tournament, since they've had it, Gonzaga's 56-6.
Yeah, I know it's something very close to that.
Just absurd dominance. And despite trailing for about 30 minutes of that game, 2 nights ago in the West Coast Conference Final against Santa Clara. Steve Nash did not walk through that door. Gonzaga pulled away, did what they always do, and then dominated the last 10 minutes of that game and ended up dominating that tournament in turn the same way they have since its inception. Gonzaga breezing through that league's tournament it only proves they are exactly who we thought they were, and that is the ultimate big fish in small pond.
That makes a lot of sense. On their way to sticking with the basketball theme and being exactly who I thought he was, which is maybe a degenerate, maybe a philanderer, absolutely an adulterer, but a damn good basketball coach. Rick Pitino. St. John's. On their way to winning another Big East championship. And Rick Pitino is the archetype of a dude who everybody knows probably not a good dude. But it's Rick. It's still kind of like him, man, and I don't know how else to explain it, man. But we all knew that he was going to get this done when he got the job at St. John's, and he is continuously proving how good of a coach he is, despite when you move all that other stuff off the table.
Oh yeah, the question was not whether or not Rick Pitino was going to be or is a Hall of Fame, one of the best college basketball coaches in the history of the sport. There's just so much other baggage. A lot of other baggage. But to just tell you how good of a coach he is, maybe one of his best coaching jobs didn't even happen in America. It was during kind of like his, his exile that he had in Greece, right? Like his little exile period where he goes and coaches like a random Greek professional team. And he wins titles over there too.
Yeah, that was also his stint in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, stint in Puerto Rico. I mean, and the guy just wins everywhere he goes. Everywhere he goes, the guy wins. And then comes back to Iona, takes him to a couple NCAA tournaments, and now doing what he's doing at St. John's. He just wins everywhere. It's remarkable.
Not everywhere.
Well, everywhere at the college level. Because I think Rick Pitino, the first one to acknowledge that a certain player is not walking through that door.
That's correct.
And for good reason, too. Oh, remarkable. Those are our Denny Green Awards for this week. But coming up next to round out hour number 2, we'll get to our pal Ray, who's been waiting patiently on the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. But there's also another big splash in NFL free agency and trades yesterday. We'll get to those two to round out hour number 2 here on the early game.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
This hour of in-show listening on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by QC Kinetics in West Columbia, the non-surgical regenerative orthopedic specialists of the Midlands. Request your consultation today at qckinetics.com.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
Talk about a lightning-fast pivot, huh? Just hours after the Max Crosby trade collapsed, the Baltimore Ravens have landed their Plan B, all-pro pass rusher Trey Hendrickson. It's a massive 4-year, $112 million deal for the former Bengal. Baltimore effectively gets an elite sack artist while keeping its 2 first-round picks that they almost sent to Vegas. I'm Drake Toll.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is the highlight of my morning. Hey, what's up? It's Island.
And I'm Josh.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Bacon, Egg, and Cheese Biscuit is that it's our go-to morning comfort.
You've got that nice golden fluffy egg.
With a soft, flaky biscuit.
Crispy bacon.
Melty cheese.
You want something quick, you want something convenient, but most of all, you want something good.
There's no better way to start your morning.
There we go.
Start off the morning with a Chick-fil-A Bacon, Egg, and Cheese Biscuit with Simply Orange Juice. Order on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Injured in a car wreck? Need your check? It's easy. Dial 1-800-ALL-7
107's now.
The Anastapula Law Firm has been recovering millions for their clients for over 30 years. Whether it's a slip and fall, car accident, or any other issues that have resulted from an accident, Anastapula Law Firm can help. Their South Carolina personal injury attorneys have experience fighting for the rights of their clients. Remember, don't scream, call Akeem. Dial 800-ALL-7s now.
Herb Glass is responsible for this ad, and cases are handled at 32 Ann Street, Charleston, South Carolina 29403. Paid endorsement, not actually client. Results may vary.
Life matters. According to legend, Michelangelo worked with a paintbrush in one hand and a candle in the other. There was a reason for this extra effort. It was said that he didn't want a shadow to distort his perception of what he was painting. If this is true, then the result of that extra effort is a collection of art that is unexcelled in Western civilization. The man was a genius, no doubt, and his talent was unmatched. Yet the great artist knew that excellence and accuracy depended on the quality of the light by which one works. Working in the light has a lot of advantages. We see better, and it keeps us from laboring under false assumptions. Maybe that's why the Bible reminds us that God's Word is like a light that helps us walk in dark places. The Bible helps us see better, whether we're looking at God, ourselves, or our fellow man. This is Pastor Stephen Chitty from Christian Life. Remember, life matters, and so do you.
Is your crawl space damp or musty? Water in your crawl space can cause winter rot and creates an environment for mold and mildew that can make its way inside your home. Canty Foundation Specialist specializes in crawl space repair. Call us today for your free inspection so you can have the peace of mind knowing your crawl space is dry and your home is protected. Call today, 803-424-8380, or visit cantycanfixit.com.
The Early Game. With former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen. On the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Heating and air phone lines before we get out of here at hour number 2. Our man Ray is on the line. Good morning, Ray. Welcome back to the Early Game, my friend.
Good morning. Good morning, Elijah. Good morning, Preston. Good morning, Jen. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of comment, throw some things in there. I thought the team played really hard last night. I really did. Of course, there's always the Jimmy and the Joes, and that always was in this year. But I thought Oklahoma had made a plan. They said, who's the guy on that team that can beat him? Of course, it's Michie. They were not going to let Michie beat them. And what I mean is they took the lanes away from him. I mean, he had a few good looks on the threes that he missed. Not a good shooting night for him, but what it did is it opened up some of those threes from those other guys. Because a lot of times when Mickey was trying to drive, it was up there, he kicked it out, and it was an open three. So he did get some assists on 3 points. But Oklahoma, they were not going to allow him to drive that lane. I mean, they collapsed every time, and they said, you know what? If these other guys hit 50% of their threes, which is a phenomenal percentage, if we don't allow Mickey to drive, we'll beat them. And I think that's kind of what they did. And just wanted to say that I think, Preston, you hit it. This fastball program, and I'm talking about the athletic department, not necessarily Coach Perry, they don't need to go on silent ears with the fans. They need to promote this team. And to be honest, we need facts. We don't need talk. I would hope, and it may not happen, I would love to see Donati come out with the presser and just say, this won't happen again. I can promise you, Carolina fans, that we will not be at the bottom of the NIL. We can't give what Big Blue gives. But there's not another school in this conference that should be able to match our NIL. I mean, we got to at least be average. But we need some specific talking points like that, guys. I mean, but I don't know, it was Bradshaw last night, Elijah one or the other announcer. And I tell you, Coach Paris, he got some points with me. They said that he made the comment that he told them, I guess the administration of the university, he said, you know what, you need to give me some money so I can get some players. Or you know what, I'll be just as happy going over and coaching the team at the YMCA. So I thought that was kind of cool, but we'll see what happens, but I do think the university's got to, they got to come through here. They can't just let this go in another year, and they got to come out and promise the money, and they got to give specifics. That's how I feel. But thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, thank you for the call, Ray. I did not. Obviously, I was sitting behind Tom Hart and Dane Bradshaw last night. I could not hear the broadcast, so if I can find that clip, I would like to take a listen to that. That is fascinating of a quote right there. But in terms of Ray's analysis of the game last night, I think it was pretty accurate in terms of what Oklahoma wanted to do defensively. I think one of the reasons why you saw a lot of catch and shoot opportunities was because Oklahoma was going to collapse on the drives from Michi specifically and maybe nobody else. There's many ways you can play that as a defense when somebody drives. Some teams have hard set rules that, you know, you show help and flash and then go back out to the wing or the corner where the shooters are. Sometimes you fully commit. Like, there's some defenses that if the ball gets into the paint, you fully collapse and you double team. Those are like your pack line defenses. And then there's some teams that just don't help at all. You know, I've watched a really good video breakdown of Hawaii playing defense. They don't help at all. Their whole thing is they don't help. If you're going to beat Hawaii, you have to win the straight line drive and win the battle off the dribble. And it's a very fascinating thing to watch because they're very extreme with it. They do not help. Very rarely do they ever actually help on drives. It's really fascinating. They've actually had a really good defense doing it. But last night, it certainly seemed as if when Michi drived, there was some collapsing. When somebody else was driving, there was not a lot of helping on it. And I think that was more so, you know, by design. But effort was there last night, Preston, but I think defensively you just got burned way too many times on that ball screen. And I think that was been a really big story of this team all year.
Yeah, and as you stated, Nigel Pack was not going to have the same performance that he did last time that he played in. So if he shoots 50% from threes, that's going to be difficult to stop.
Yeah, he was 5 of 10. Absolute insanity. Before we get out of here too, though, Preston, I want to get your thoughts on maybe a couple of free agent signings, like in terms of what the big ones were.
I'll give you a thumbs up, thumbs down.
Ooh, okay. How about Mike Evans to the San Francisco 49ers?
Good start. I'll start right in the middle. Thumb sideways.
Sideways thumb.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of an age thing there.
Yeah. Mike Evans is obviously great. You think he's a Hall of Famer. And when you said that, I'm like, yeah, he actually is. I never actually really considered it till you said that. That being said, he's a little bit more older. He's a little injury prone, and I'm not sure how he works in that particular offense.
Yeah, this past year was the first year he did not have a 1,000-yard receiving season. Mm-hmm. He has been in the league for like a decade. It's or over a decade now, I think. I mean, it is pretty remarkable. And he only didn't get that this year because he was more banged up and injured this year than at any point in his career. Bradley Chubb to the Buffalo Bills.
Thumbs down.
Oh, because it was a pretty hefty price tag. They're paying him a lot of money.
Yeah, I just don't know if that's the answer. I don't know if that is something that they can add, but I feel like they can get that production out of somebody else without that price tag.
Yeah, and that also it goes to show too the premium that is put on edge rushers in the National Football League, just how valuable of a position that they view that as. Kenneth Walker with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Thumbs up.
I think that one's a big thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are showing that they're not going to let that window close so quickly and that they may be trying to reopen that window, especially while they got the guy playing quarterback. So I do like the move. Very rarely do you see he was the MVP, wasn't he?
He was. The Super Bowl MVP was not retained by his team the next season.
That's pretty wild, but that's how the market goes.
And what does he do? Goes to the team that has won 3 Super Bowls in the last, 6 or so years. Pretty wild to see that. And then real quick, a potential move, Kyler Murray to the Vikings. Not official, but it's rumored to be a thing.
Thumbs down, man. Justice for JJ. When we going to let JJ get this start, man? Nobody wants to give my guy a clean start. I don't like how they're doing my boy up there.
Let JJ cook. 2 hours down, 1 to go. The early game, third and long hours next. We'll revisit last night's game and take a look at the program.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.
This is the time of the year where your HVAC system is under a lot of stress. Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it going to be warm the next day? Is it going to be sunny another day? The folks from AAA Heating and Air can help you out with all of that, especially if you're a business owner, part of a church, or if you're responsible for the HVAC in the organization. This time of year is where you need to start prepping. Summer's on the way. It's going to be hot. The folks from AAA Heating and Air can help. Right now, they're offering guaranteed financing to any qualified organization. Makes it easier to upgrade your system without having the upfront cost. And also, when you do that, that means there's 12 months, no payments, no interest. That gives you time to plan, budget, and breathe easy. When you do that, you get a 15-year parts and labor guaranteed. That's 15 years. That's long-term peace of mind for your building, your staff, and the people that you serve. Getting started is easy. Just call AAA Heating and Air for a quote or visit AAAtoday.com.
Sponsored by Odoo.com. All your business apps in one place. Your business deserves tools to make you feel in control, not overwhelmed. With Odoo's all-in-one, easy-to-use platform, everything is together so you can focus on what matters. Start at Odoo.com today. That's ODOO.com.
Plus tax, tags, and title with approved credit. Call 888-411-7640 for details. March is a race against time at JT's Jeep Ram. JT is selling every single Ram regardless of profit or loss. Every credit application and offer accepted. JT's been challenged to sell 150 Rams, making deals the other dealers can't. New Rams, light duty, heavy duty, up to $15,000 off with 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. JT's Jeep Ram, 378 Lexington or Greystone Boulevard. Ram Truck Month.
At Average Amy's Coffee Corner, our coffee has caffeine, our muffins are cooked, and our services, well, we're here. Come on by for an average cup of joe.
Average doesn't build great businesses. Cumulus Digital does, outperforming industry benchmarks by more than 25%. We deliver smarter digital marketing to over 4,000 local businesses every month and drive real, measurable growth. You're not average. Your marketing results shouldn't be either. Visit cumulusdigital.com to start outperforming today.
Mike Rowe here with another random fact. Those cracks on your walls aren't just cosmetic. They could mean your home is sinking. Whether it's drywall cracks, exterior cracks, or sticking doors or windows, do yourself a favor and call a Groundworks company. I spent some time working with these guys, and they're the real deal. Their people are trained and certified to stabilize your foundation. Schedule a free inspection with Mount Valley Foundation Services, a Groundworks company.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Don't miss out on this sweet deal from Grill Marks. Beginning this Friday at 9 a.m., visit 1075thegame.com and click on Sweet Deals to get a $50 gift certificate to Grill Marks for just $25. It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
I-20 eastbound at Longs Pond Road, an accident there. And also showing Longs Pond Road at I-20. And then Rawl Road at Pisgah Church Road, an accident. So be careful out there. We are expecting some showers and potential thunderstorms mid-morning today. Then that will be clearing out, a high of 71. We are under a tornado watch until 1 o'clock this afternoon. Tomorrow it'll be sunny and 67, but the overnight low is actually, you're going to bundle up for the morning because the overnight low is going to be 35. And again, 67 tomorrow, 77 on Saturday. But right now, 68 on the early game.
Your home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station. The early game. With former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
The early game, third and long hour, starts right now. I'm Elijah Campbell here in Nashville, Tennessee, covering the SEC tournament, brought to you by Griffin Pools and Spas. Back home, Preston Thorne and Jen Jensen back in Studio 803 here for the early game, third and long hour. And my man Randy Young always in the house. I assume it's Randy there right now in the video production room there,
It
Preston
is.
Thorne?
Yes, sir, it is.
Yes. See, I knew. I don't even have to be there. I know. I could just feel it.
Yeah,
the
man,
vibes are immaculate from here.
You know, we're on spring break, so the town is a little empty right now, so we're having to hold it down.
Yeah, have to. It's next man up in that scenario. But last night, the big story in Gamecock athletics, South Carolina falls to Oklahoma by a score of 86-74. And that all but ends the season for the Gamecocks, ending with a final record of 13-19. They're 4-14 in the SEC in the regular season, and then 0-1 in the tournament. There were a lot of takeaways from this game specifically. If we want to recap the game itself, we could do that and then get to a lot of the big picture stuff. Because Preston, I look at it as, I think offensively you played well enough to win this game. You shot really the way that was kind of promised at the beginning of the season. You know, you made 11 of your 29 threes. That's good for about 38%. In the first half, you couldn't miss, seemingly. And you got a lot of guys involved. You end up getting 19 points from Mike Sharajan. So you got 20 from Kobe Knox. And it didn't end up coming into fruition the way you wanted to, because defensively you just couldn't get any stops. I did the quick math during one of the TV timeouts late in the game, Preston. This was probably with about 3 minutes to go. And I've talked a lot about this year about effective field goal shooting and how valuable effective field goal percentage is and how crucial it is to win that battle if you want to win basketball games. Would you like to take a guess at what Oklahoma's effective field goal percentage was last night after the first 37 minutes of action?
Give me the number.
75%.
Oh, I would not have guessed that.
75%. Not good. You will not win any games that way. And unfortunately, even if your effort was adequate, the result wasn't, because you had so many defensive breakdowns that we've seen this team have all year long. I mean, out of all of the Lamont Paris coach teams that we've seen at South Carolina, this one probably struggled with guarding a ball screen worse than any of them, right? And last night, Oklahoma just ball screened you to death. They played well in the short roll with their bigs. Lamont mentioned that a lot last night, was that whenever their screener caught the ball in the paint, always made a really good decision with it. The backs, like the weak side, was always usually pretty open. Grant Polk, after the game in the locker room, was talking about how they really struggled with guarding, the back end of the action. Usually people just get fixated on what happens in the action of the ball screen, but what happens off the ball is mightily important too. And if you don't rotate on the back end, you're going to get burned. And so many passes made it to the baseline where Oklahoma to get easy buckets, maybe get some dunks, get easy looks at the rim. And last night, there were way too many times where a player would cut from the opposite side where the ball wasn't and would get an easy look. And I think just the concoction of all of that led for Oklahoma to have an incredible offensive night and be able to score with ease.
Okay, I have to ask you a philosophical basketball question here, and I know you're ready for it.
Always.
Of course. All right, is Lamont's defensive system, is it difficult to understand? Is it super intricate? Is that why we struggled? Or is it a matter of them not being able to physically execute it?
I think it's them not being able to physically execute it. I think this year Lamont has been more multiple in terms of his ball screen coverages. He talked last night, they changed their ball screen coverage a lot just to try to find something that would stick, right? To find something that could possibly contain Oklahoma or make Oklahoma have to make a couple more passes. Usually what his ball screen coverages are defensively are hedging the ball screen. So many times you'd see them use the ball screen, and just think back a couple of years ago to the tournament team. BJ Mack was usually the one who was guarding the screener. BJ Mack would kind of step out, maybe a foot past where the screener was and force the ball handler to move backwards instead of going forwards. But instead of collapsing and double teaming like a Houston or an Iowa State, your more aggressive teams are, he would run back and catch up with the screener who was crashing towards the basket. And BJ, to his credit, was really good at doing that. He was good at pushing the ball handler out a little bit to make that first move go away from the basket as opposed to going towards the basket. And he was always really good at recovering back to the roller to make sure there was no clear dive to the basket from the opposing team's big. He was really good at doing that. They didn't really have to change up ball screen coverages much during the season that specific year. This year, you've seen them do a lot. You've seen them be aggressive. You've seen them play drop coverage. You've seen them do a lot of different things when it comes to trying to find out how to guard ball screens. I just don't think this specific unit that he had this year did a really good job of kind of executing that. I don't think it's necessarily anything that's too complex. There are certainly more complex defensive strategies and rules that teams have to follow. This one, wouldn't necessarily put up there with that in terms of its complexity. I just think this team really had a hard time grasping how to stop teams in certain ball screen situations and being out of position, with some of it just being natural, I guess, man-to-man defensive principles really hurt them a lot this year. Sometimes it was just you were late on a rotation. Maybe not an effort thing, but maybe it's a mental sharpness on the floor thing, right? Like, hey, I know I have to get here at this moment. Because if you hesitate, that's the hard part about playing defense, is that if you hesitate for a second and you get beat to a certain spot, that can be the difference between them having to make an extra pass around the perimeter or a pass getting into the lane for a layup or a dunk.
Yeah, well, and the reason why I asked that question is because we're having this conversation now, and I guess it really came to my attention way late in the season against Florida when they had the lob when Lob City was in the building.
Right.
When we had that, and it's just like, okay, is this something that they're struggling to be able to comprehend, or can they not just do it? Because I talk about my experience all the time, and this is football, obviously, but when Rick Minner was here as the defensive coordinator, his system was just too complicated. It was awesome on the whiteboard, and it was really great every time you drew it up, and we had an answer for everything on offense. We just couldn't remember what to do once we got on the field because it was so much. And I know those types of things can happen, and I was just wondering if that was the case with Lamont's defensive philosophy.
Yeah, I wouldn't chalk it up to that. Yeah, just because we've seen a couple times where I think the ball screen coverage, if we're just like narrowing it down to ball screens, right, which is such a big part of the game of basketball now, that if we just zero it down to ball screens, like the Tennessee game is a perfect example. They ran more aggressive ball screen coverage to try to get Jacoby Gillespie to move back a little bit, and which I don't mind. I can't argue with it at all. But when Jacoby Gillespie splits the double after the screen, then you're completely, SOL, because you're going to give up that lob, because whoever's the back end help or the low man has to move up and meet the ball handler. That's going to leave the back end wide open. Then you lose the numbers game. Like it's if you split a double team on an aggressive ball screen coverage as a ball handler, you are going to get a lob or a floater in the lane every single time. Like those are the two options. Neither of them are great. And for Tennessee, they just caught lobs and dunks all game because you just couldn't contain the ball handler. Even though you ran a coverage designed to make you have to make tougher passes, the opposite ended up happening because you just didn't execute the first step of the plan. I think we saw a lot of that this season. And when it comes to a lot of the big picture stuff with this team, I know Jen Jensen has been hard at work over there cutting up Lamont's presser, because Lamont ran along on a couple of answers, but I think he was at least very thorough, right? I wanted to ask Lamont last night, I did, about what he learned from the struggles this season and what this year's team might have taught him. So I guess as we cut 8, Jen.
Patience, I think, is a big part of it. Just in trying to get a particular message across, and trying to get guys to pick up on certain things. And we improved, we got better at a lot of things. Growth, I always say growth happens on your timeline. You can't force the growth. It just happens on whatever the timeline is as you absorb and can process information. And so this team, while it grew significantly, grew slower. And so I think in some ways that led to part of it. Early on, we also had a lot of different lineups, and it was a combination of not only consistency on behalf of some guys' parts, but we also had some injuries. We had probably 3 different concussions early on in the season, and so we didn't have a long stretch of the same lineup for a long time. But you try to take some time to process the season immediately after the season. But it's just how to keep on persevering and learning more about how the guys process information. It changes from year to year. I feel like in the last couple of years it's changed even more for a variety of reasons. But just you're constantly always trying to learn your team. I think I've heard probably more coaches saying that this year more than any other year I've been around, but constantly trying to learn your team and push buttons that can help them be better. But we did have a resilient group. I mean, if you look at even this game, the way we came out in this game and the way that we played, it wasn't for any lack of effort. Certainly that we didn't come out on top. And so, you know, hopefully it'll be a good experience for some of the guys, some of the younger guys. Yeah, really just you know, how to always learning and taking in how to get a message across and what buttons to push. The buttons continually change, and that's a part of your job as the coach to find the button that incites any particular reaction.
And you think about kind of the urgency that exists now. He learned that he had to be patient in terms of the development, and the staff truly believes there was development made. And I can't argue with some of the numbers in terms of like individual players getting a little bit better or getting more aggressive. I thought we saw a better version of Kobe Knox at the end of the year than we did at the beginning of the year. Michi Johnson grew into the role that he was asked to play, even though if it was not his more natural position. And like, you don't lead the SEC in assist rate if you don't improve, right? Or you don't get better. Like, he got better at getting the free throw, and there were certain improvements there, and there were certainly some individual growth. But the big thing is it just took way too long to get to that point. And yeah, patience is something that has to be taught, but you can't rush development. Unfortunately for Lamont in this program, with the new batch of players you're going to have to bring in for next year, you're not going to have the luxury of time to be able to be patient.
Yeah, and also matters where you're starting from. I mean, you can go back to the teaching idea. Like, you can develop from an F to a D. But okay, you know, or you can, or even, hey, you can develop from a 50 to a 59, and you're still failing, and you've improved, right? And I think that's where you see a lot of this. We've been joking all show about, yes, they did improve their win total. Yes, they did not finish last. And like Lamont said, yes, there was growth and improvement, but it's not good enough. And they're going to have to figure out where they start and how they make more rapid improvements for the team for next year, because obviously this is not going to be acceptable moving forward.
Coming up next, the early game third and long hour. We'll go deep. We'll continue our series on the fascinating case of Tua Tagovailoa, and we'll get to Rocky, who is waiting patiently on the AAA heating and air phone line. So we'll get to Rocky. We'll get to the early game third and long hour goes deep, and a whole lot more coming up next here in the early game.
All my sports. The Game Network. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 96.9 The Game in Charleston. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.
Elijah Campbell here to tell you about my friends over at the Ecton Law Firm. Look, a lot of things in life can trouble us, and sometimes those issues are a little more significant than others and can weigh on you a little more heavily, and tax issues can be one of those things, right? The IRS maze is incredibly difficult to be able to escape, and if you're not a tax expert, I don't blame you. I don't know many people that are experts in this field. It does help to be able to consult with the group of experts, a group of people like John Ecton and his team at the Ecton Law Firm, who have been helping thousands of families and businesses just like yours escape that IRS maze and get out from underneath the burden that presents to you. Just give them a call, 803-771-9800. Set up that free consultation with John and his team at the Ecton Law Firm to be able to walk through all the steps you need to be able to finally get relief. 803-771-9800 is the number, or you can always go online at EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON Lawfirm.com.
Springtime in Columbia. And if you own a business, you too can have the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield. Just ask Mike.
I was watching TV one night and saw the Rhino Shield Shield ad. And I thought, well, if they can do a house, they can probably do a building.
Rhino Shield's not paint, it's better.
So they came out and they gave me a price, showed me how the Rhino works, how it lasts, and how the guarantee works.
Business or residential, get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
They waited for us to leave, and they worked Saturday and Sunday so they wouldn't affect our business at all. This was the great part of it. I came back Sunday night, and you couldn't even tell they were here. There was no paint on the ground. They did a fantastic job.
Here's owner Dan Hoey.
This offer is limited, so call today at 833-RHINO-99 or visit RhinoShieldCarolina.com. Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Don't paint. Don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Plus tax tags and title with approved credit. Call 888-320-6359 for details. The all-new JT's Kia is officially open with their new state-of-the-art showroom designed to make your buying experience fast, friendly, and hassle-free. Get grand opening 0% financing for 60 months on new Kias. Put no money down and JT's million-mile warranty. Plus savings up to 10 grand off new Kias and up to 5 grand over book value for your trade. Get to JT's Kia today, I-77 at Killian Road or Greystone Boulevard.
Do you have sagging, soft, or bouncy floors in your home? Well, this could be a sign of rotten wood caused by moisture in your crawl space. Damaged wood in your crawl space can affect your home's foundation, and that can affect your home's value, and nobody wants that. Say goodbye to sagging floors and hello to a stable foundation. Contact Canty today for your free inspection at 803-424-8380 or visit cantycanfixit.com.
Hey, this is Terry Ford. Got a little story time for you. If you're a business or property owner and you're needing to deter any unwanted cars from parking in your parking lots, definitely call Schroeder's Towing. They'll provide signage for your business completely free of charge. Anytime a vehicle is parked in your lot that shouldn't be, Schroeder's Towing will be there to make sure your lot stays open for your employees, customers, and tenants. Trust me, I know firsthand what happens when you ignore Schroeder's Towing signage. Just go online at schroederstowing.net.
Just dial pound 250 and use the keyword tow truck.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
The Carolina Cup races return on Saturday, March 28th in Camden, South Carolina, presented by MUSC Health. It's where spring begins. So grab your most festive hat or your favorite bow tie and make plans now for the best tailgating, shopping, fashion, and incredible horses running to victory. It's the 91st running of the Carolina Cup races, and don't forget to bring the whole family and enjoy the True Vista Kids Zone. Plus, remember, all kids 12 and under get in free. Saturday, March 28th. Visit CarolinaCup.org for tickets and details.
It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
I-20 eastbound at Longs Pond Road, still working that earlier tie-up, and Rawl Road at Pisgah Church Road, an accident in progress. Expecting some weather to be coming in here in just a bit. Mid-morning is when we're expecting some showers and potential thunderstorms. 71 will be our high, and that cold front is ushering that in, which means it's going to be cold tonight. Our overnight low of just 35. Tomorrow's high 67 with sunny skies, sunny 77 on Saturday. 68 right now, and we are under a tornado watch until 1 o'clock this afternoon.
The early game with former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Deep. Part 3 of our series on kind of the rise and fall of Tua Tagovailoa. We'll head out to the AAA Heating and Air phone lines, where our pal Rocky is back on the line with us. Good morning, Rocky. Always good to hear from you. Welcome back to the early game.
Good morning, fellas. Elijah, you're going to talk basketball X's and O's, then you're talking my language, and you're talking about the ball screen. And back when I played, quite some time ago, we very rarely switched. I mean, we practiced it in going over the top of the ball screen, and that's really that's about technique and footwork, awareness, and intensity, of course, and just fighting over, staying with your man and fighting over the top of the ball screen. And that's not always going to happen, but that's the way I played, and I was a pretty good defensive player and rebounder and that kind of thing for my height at 6'5". But I played a lot of wing, and you get a lot of those ball screens, and that's what we did. I mean, that's the way our coaches taught us: fight over the screen, be aware of it. I mean, sometimes you can't, but most of the time, if you're doing it the right way, you can fight over the top of the ball screen, and instead of going behind it. I know they do it a lot of different ways now, which is I watch it so much and how they switch or they do that kind of thing. But I mean, that's just sharing with you. When it came to ball screens, that's the way I was taught, and that's the way we tried to play.
Mm-hmm. Oh, certainly. When I played, it was certainly kind of the same way. Like, switching was always seen as a last resort. And I think what you see in college basketball now is so many teams, or at least some of your best defensive teams, have so much more size on the perimeter. Like, your guards are 6'4" and 6'5". Like, if you watch Duke, right? Duke has when Caleb Foster's healthy, an entire starting lineup that's 6'4" or taller. And they just switch everything on principle, right? Because most of their players can guard all positions on the floor. And that's probably the easiest way of doing it without getting lost. They don't just switch ball screens, they switch off ball screens, right? Switch off to cutters, they switch everything. And it makes it so much harder for a defense if you have the luxury of being able to do that and not get caught in mismatch nightmares. And I think last night too, when South Carolina did go back to a switching coverage on ball screens, they did get caught in a lot of bad mismatches, and that hurt them at times too. So when they were aggressive, they kind of got burned this year. When they played, non-aggressive, maybe more conservative coverage, they got burned. They got burned when they would switch sometimes, and that was kind of just a big story of this season, is that with the way the roster was built and the weaknesses and strengths of some of these certain players, there were a lot of trying to just figure out what works on the defensive side of the ball, and it just never truly came to fruition, or at least came to a point of acceptability to be able to win more than 4 games in this league. I think it's a pretty good observation there, Rocky. I always appreciate your call. But for the early game, third and long hour goes deep, Preston Thorne, part 3 of this story today is the Dolphins era of Tua Tagovailoa. Pretty much his career in the National Football League so far, to date, right? He is now signed with the Atlanta Falcons. And there's a lot of different ways to look at this, Preston, because there's a lot of ups and downs. There were some years in which he had really good years, and he was proficient in things as a quarterback that anybody would value in a franchise quarterback. Accuracy. He's had years where he's been at the top of the league when it comes to completion percentage, right? In 2024, he led the league in completion percentage. He completed about 73% of his passes. An ability to stretch the field a little bit. He did that when he had Tyreek Hill, and we saw in 2023 that it culminated in a 4,600-yard passing season. But then we've also seen leadership issues and injury issues, and some of the injury issues being bad enough to where you really get concerned when you just watch him play football. Watching Tua Tagovailoa play football times is a borderline anxiety attack, because you just don't know when that extra hit to the head is going to come. I think all that has kind of culminated into what is a real Rorschach test for all quarterback evaluators out there to look at his body of work in Miami and try to come to anything conclusive about what he is as an NFL quarterback.
We wanted to talk about Tua for this week because there's so many touchstones of his career. In his short time in Miami, just for 5 years, you have the Brian Flores conversation. Brian Flores proven now. We know Brian Flores was a good defensive coordinator. We know Brian Flores is a defensive coordinator now. When he was the head coach at the Dolphins, him and Tua did not get along. Tua said that Brian Flores was mean to him. And, I don't know what
Brian
the answer
Flores,
is.
Old school guy. I mean, I guess old school fella.
Yeah,
some styles clashed.
To that point, Brian Flores is not known as the most personal. He's a direct descendant off the Bill Belichick tree. If you know what I'm saying, so like he is that 100%, and it didn't work. And so Brian Flores is fired. There's a whole situation with him. He sues the league and all kinds of stuff that happens, kind of directly based on Tua's guidance. Tua gets his guy in, a cool guy, Mike McDaniel. He wears capris and sunglasses and vapes on the sideline. This is going to be the thing that Tua needs, and it works for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And then it stops working, and it gets even worse. And then you start to see the like you said, the flip side of it with the leadership, not to mention the idea that this quarterback is probably the spokesperson unwillingly for concussions in the NFL. We've seen it. It's been visible, and he's been the person that we can really pin that narrative to.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Miami. I think Miami made the right decision. If you're going to move on from Brian Flores, which I don't think I would have moved on to begin with because they were getting some success, but you get a coach that more matches the personality type of your quarterback so they could both be on the same page. And it did pay dividends. I mean, they did go to the playoffs, and who knows what would have happened if it wasn't a historically cold day in Kansas City. I think that probably affects a team that plays their regular season games in Miami, Elijah, I think that had a little bit of effect there.
You remember that game. That is the game where Patrick Mahomes' helmet was cracked in half because it was so cold.
It was so cold. All it took was one hit, and it cracks his helmet. Like a historically cold night in Kansas City. And that year, though, the reason it was a bummer for the Dolphins in that game was because it really took them out of it in a year in which that was the best year that they've had with that core. They brought Tyreek Hill in to get to these playoff games, and that's the situation you get into. But then you look at other parts of Tua's career, we've seen some really bad concussions. The one on Thursday Night Football is the one I think I'm going to remember forever.
Yes.
Against the Cincinnati Bengals, where, his fingers are all in different directions. And I mean, you could clearly tell that was a serious, concussion that he experienced on that football field. So then there's this whole idea of trying to balance out risk-averse ways of playing him, and also trying to understand exactly what his physical limitations are going to be in this league and finding a way to maximize them. And, to at least Mike McDaniel's credit, if we're going to separate the differences between Flores and McDaniel, Flores may be better suited to be a head coach of an NFL locker room and team, but Mike McDaniel may be the type of offensive coordinator or a play caller best suited to actually know what Tua's limitations are and maximize them a bit.
Yeah, well, the Dolphins swung the pendulum from one side to the other. When you talk about head coach temperament, those dudes are vastly different as far as they're concerned. And I think they both shown that they both can be very – honestly, to that point, I think they're both good right where they are. Brian Flores is great calling defenses. I don't know if he has the personality to be in the front of a locker room just because he's so straight line. And Mike McDaniel's good calling offenses. And I think they'll both end up doing exactly what they need to do. With that being said, though, it essentially, as you said, you limit what Tua can do because his mobility is hampered because of his hip injury. Also, we don't want him running out of the pocket because of his head injury. But now if he sits in the pocket, only being 6'1", he can't really, unless he's Drew Brees, which he's not, it's going to be difficult for him to make some of those balls. And, also, by the way, he doesn't have great arm strength. And so there's a lot of limiting factors on this guy, and it really does prove to be a curious situation when you try and project what he's going to be in the future.
And because of the rise of Sam Darnold, I think NFL fans and media will be trying to find who the next one could be. NFL teams are going to try to replicate what Seattle did, Minnesota did with Darnold when it comes to a reclamation project. And tomorrow we'll discuss whether or not the Falcons can tap into any of that with Tua Tagovailoa. If there's a chance that any of that can happen, that's how we'll round out the series tomorrow. But coming up next, though, it's time to go racing. Vroom, vroom, the Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge with our man Josh Harris is next, and we will make our picks here on the early game.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network, Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
It's that time again. Friday, April 3rd, the Spring Golf Classic at Charwood, West Columbia with our buddies Rock and Daniel Lucas. Once again, $400 for a team. And we have Saki's Morning Libations Bar before tee-off. Also, the classic onion sausage. Once again, presented by the Lexington Gamecock Club. Yeah, I know you're going to ask. We have the golf gun. Yes, we do. All that, Friday, April 3rd. Again, $400 a team, $100 for an individual. Very simple. Write down this phone number. 803-755-2000 and press number 2 for our buddies at Charwood. Again, 803-555-2000, press 2. April 3rd, it's the Spring Golf Classic from the Game.
Sponsored by Aleve.
Hey, Jen for CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. The demolition we had to do in the kitchen, that was not a fun experience. I'm going to tell you, having a flood in the kitchen, having to completely gut the kitchen, it wasn't a good time. But CHW Cabinetry and the gals there made it so much better. They helped us choose what we were looking for, made the process so much better. The photorealistic rendering that I talked about gave us something to look forward to in the whole process. But like I said before, you don't have to redo a kitchen to take advantage of what CHW Cabinetry has to offer. We redid a couple bathrooms and needed cabinetry for those. They can help you with simple projects like that, maybe updating a closet, updating a pantry, maybe creating a home office workspace. Just go visit them online, chwcabinetry.com, or call them today, 803-520-6837. And be sure to tell them Jen sent you. They're locally owned. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation.
Life doesn't wait, and neither should you. Aleve can help you deal with pain less throughout your day. With just one pill, Aleve lasts up to 12 hours. Don't let those aches and pains hold you back from doing what's important to you. Use as directed.
Plus tax tags and title with approved credit. Call 888-320-6359 for details. The all-new JT's Kia is officially open with their new state-of-the-art showroom designed to make your buying experience fast, friendly, and hassle-free. Get grand opening 0% financing for 60 months on new Kias. Put no money down and JT's million-mile warranty. Plus savings up to 10 grand off new Kias and up to 5 grand over book value for your trade. Get to JT's Kia today, I-77 at Killian Road or Greystone Boulevard.
I'm Jason Reynolds. You may wonder if you're better off hiring a big corporate law firm with hundreds of lawyers, or should you go local?
I'm Stephen Samuels. With the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, you get me, or Jason, or Michael, or David. You have your own lawyer who can go toe-to-toe with anybody from big law to big insurance.
Here's how you know. Call 803-779-4000. You won't get a robot. You'll get Abby or Andrea or one of our other wonderful people taking your call. Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers.
To 15-year-old Harper, buying an $80 vintage rock t-shirt is a great investment. To Harper's mom, this logic has a few holes in it. So she helped Harper open a Wells Fargo Clear Access banking account. With no overdraft fees and tools to track spending, Harper's learning, one heavy metal tee at a time. However you make money work, Wells Fargo can work with that.
Terms apply. Visit wellsfargo.com/deposit disclosures for fees and details.
Don't miss out on this sweet deal from Grill Marks. Beginning this Friday at 9 a.m., visit 1075thegame.com and click on Sweet Deals to get a $50 gift certificate to Grill Marks for just $25. Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass, shepherdsglass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
Is your crawl space damp or musty? Water in your crawl space can cause wood to rot and creates an environment for mold and mildew that can make its way inside your home. Canty Foundation Specialist specializes in crawl space repair. Call us today for your free inspection so you can have the peace of mind knowing your crawl space is dry and your home is protected. Call today, 803-424-8380, or visit cantycanfixit.com.
Want to unlock the power of athlete marketing to grow your business? Garnet Trust has recently launched a business membership program, making it easier than ever for your business to work directly with a USC student athlete. Visit garnettrust.com today or call 803-250-1765 to see your business move.
Hate paying for streaming? Well, the 1075 The Game app is free. Yes, free. Just download the 1075 The Game app. It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
Longs Pond Road at I-20 eastbound at Longs Pond Road. There's an accident there, and they're also indicating that Longs Pond Road itself at I-20 is having an issue. So be careful in that area. Some morning storms going to be coming in mid-morning today. 71 for the high. The overnight low is 35. Then sunny and 67 tomorrow. We are under a tornado watch until 1 o'clock this afternoon.
Early game. With former Gamecocks Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen. On the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
It's Thursday morning, so you know what morning it is. It's time to go racing. The Corley Pool Solutions Checkered Flag Challenge. We'll bring in our man Josh Harris from Darlington Raceway. And right now, things have gotten really interesting because just a couple short weeks ago, Preston was behind. He was just kind of, seeing things through. I had a lead for a little bit. Jen had a lead for a little bit. And just like that, Preston slingshots his way to the front of the pack here because he picked a winner this past weekend with Ryan Blaney winning. So our first 10-pointer of the season goes to Preston Thorne. And Josh, an exciting race and a bigger one this weekend in Las Vegas.
Yeah, absolutely. The Phoenix weekend turned out to be phenomenal all the way around. You had multiple series running. You had an IndyCar, NASCAR doubleheader on Saturday, and then the Cup Series on Sunday. Big win for Ryan Blaney, broke the 3-race winning streak from Tyler Reddick to start the year off, and really came down to him and Christopher Bell, who was Reggie's pick. So Reggie and Preston were.
Oh, what happened to Josh?
The Gremlins.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's not
The
good.
devil works hard. The devil works hard. The radio gremlins work harder.
Right? I mean, we're trying to talk about something extremely important about Bell and Blaney, and you guys having such, great picks. Well, that's odd. Well, as I'll effort to get him back on because I'm not sure what quite happened. But as he was referencing about the IndyCar series and the NASCAR series, yes, they both ran and they had that desert double, and ratings were great. It was a good experience overall for all the race fans. It looked like. But what was really exciting is that Joseph Newgarden, IndyCar driver, won the Indy race, and then Ryan Blaney won the NASCAR race. So both were Penske. So Penske swept the weekend, and it was also celebrating like the 60th anniversary for Penske. So that was a kind of a fun overall thing. Yeah, so lots of extra storylines there that really made the experience in the weekend really, really good.
Yeah, I know it's a segment early for winners, but Penske, big winners over the weekend.
Big winners.
Yeah, and for those, for people listening right now, I mean, Jen Jensen is the NASCAR informational hub here. You probably know strategy and all of this better than anybody. I've talked to you and Tyler Heads, definitely. When it came to Ryan Blaney winning that race, what are some of those factors that kind of led to him winning that race? I think she's efforting Josh at the moment. We'll get Josh's thoughts on that for sure. Maybe I should just ask Preston. Preston, what did your crystal ball tell you? There we go. Look at that.
Gremlins, there's some thunderstorms and some rain coming in, so maybe it just kind of messed up our phone lines.
Maybe. Did you say tornado watch earlier?
Yeah, tornado watch till 1. Craziness.
I don't love that.
No.
Hey, get that out of here. Get that out of here.
Right. So, Josh, we were actually just talking about the Penske weekend and how they'd swept the weekend and 60th anniversary and all of that. So we were kind of mentioning what a great celebration that was overall for both series. And I think they're planning on doing a couple more series like this to have these really good weekends of both series.
Yeah, I think it helps, especially for the first, 10, 12 races of the NASCAR season that are on Fox networks, and the IndyCar series now being on the Fox networks for the entire season. There's opportunities for some overlap with those tracks, and I think it's a cool thing for race fans. If you go out to Phoenix and you're an IndyCar fan, you get to stick around and see a little bit of NASCAR and vice versa. I know the Saturday crowd was really strong for that doubleheader out there. So every indication I have coming out of that is it was successful from both sides for both series, which is what you want, is successful for the fans. And I think maybe that's something they can look at doing. It's got to be specific tracks where this can work, but certainly opens the door for more of those conversations in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're seeing, the point system as far as the championship playoffs is concerned, lots of changes, and it is showing now that, consistency is going to be very important. We've got Reddick still in the lead, obviously, but now Blaney in second and Bubba Wallace in third. And Christopher Bell jumped 18 points or 18 positions in the playoffs. So he is now sixth as far as the playoff contention is concerned. So it's kind of fun to see how all of this is shaking up early in the season. It's going to be a fun ride, I think, throughout.
It is. I think, this early in the season, you're going to see these probably larger jumps up in the standings. You're going to see guys fall further back if they have a bad day. And I think that's somewhat to be expected. I wouldn't panic if I were anybody. Even a guy, you think about the 19 and Chase Briscoe, he's had fast cars, but he just hasn't had good, whether you want to call it luck or just outcomes of these races. He's gotten involved in some incidents, and he's buried way back in the standings. But we're still early enough that I think he's got an opportunity to recover. It's a long first 26 races of the regular season to get to that final race at Daytona before the chase begins here at Darlington over Labor Day weekend. But it is fun to follow. We've heard some of the drivers admit that this requires a little different approach in making sure they're trying to maximize every race and every finish, and you don't have that backstop of winning you're in that we had in the past.
Absolutely. I think it is just kind of fun to watch, and it is going to be intriguing for these first 26 races. So you have a little something going on next weekend. Let us know just a little bit about some of what's happening, how to get tickets, and just some highlights.
Yeah, we're kind of making all the final preparations here at the end of the week and early part of the week. We'll have all the haulers start to roll in, campgrounds open for our campers on Tuesday, and then the week kind of gets off and running. But we've got a triple header weekend with the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, the Buckle Up South Carolina 200 on Friday night, the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series at 5:30 on Saturday, and then we've got the Goodyear 400 on Sunday, all wrapped around celebrating the NASCAR alumni and having a lot of former drivers and competitors here doing Q&As, autograph sessions. We're going to do a parade on Saturday morning. We've got Mark Martin driving the pace car. We've got Kurt Busch and Harry Gann as our co-grand marshals. So a lot of cool things for us and ways to continue to celebrate the history of the sport. Thursday is going to be a big day from a community standpoint. We've got a blood drive. We've got our track laps for charity event. You can come out 6 to 8 p.m., drive your car around the track. Ross Chastain's going to be here taking pictures in Victory Lane, so if you participate in that, you can get a picture with Ross. So a lot to come, and all the information's on our website at darlingtonraceway.com.
Outstanding. We appreciate that. Well, before we get to Darlington, we're going to be racing in Vegas, so take it away for the picks contest, Mr. Elijah.
All right. Well, with the first pick here, I'll try to play it safe here. Give me Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson, that's a good pick. I've struggled with who to take. You know what? I hesitate, but I'm going Denny Hamlin this week. Oh, sorry, Preston. Okay. So that takes us to Josh. Josh, who are you taking?
Well, maybe we'll get a similar reaction out of Preston here. That's the downside of being first, Preston. You got to pick last. So,
I know.
Wear it with a badge of honor. I'm going to go with the guy who looked strong last week and led the most laps. I'm going to go with Christopher Bell.
Okay.
No way.
Outstanding. All right.
Okay.
Well, that's taken a lot of people out for Reggie. So now he's taking Blaney.
Whew, all right, y'all took all my first three in order. We're gonna go with William Byron.
All right, William Byron, good pick. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much, Josh. We look forward to talking to you next week, and we're actually going to be out there at Darlington broadcasting next Friday, I believe. So it's going to be fun. I can't believe we're already to that weekend.
That's exciting. We'll move our picks back by a day, and I look forward to seeing you all here in Darlington next Friday.
Outstanding. Elijah, what's coming up next?
Coming up next, just like Josh, we have our winners, and we'll give you our winners for today's show next here on the early game.
96.9 The Game in Charleston, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach, and 100.5 The Game in Florence. Gamecock fans, get ready for something new this season. Charleston now has a new station for Carolina sports talk. Dial in to 96.9 The Game on HD3. Head to 96.9 FM and on an HD radio, punch into HD Channel 3. You'll unleash live Carolina coverage you can listen to all day long. New on HD3. It's 96.9 The Game HD3, South Carolina's newest sports station.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
Crisis averted. A sigh of relief for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic after a stunning upset loss to Italy a couple of nights ago. The Americans thought they were still moving on. They needed the Italians to knock off Mexico. That's exactly what happened. 9-1 yesterday. The USA will play Canada now on Friday. I'm Greg Toll.
Love college basketball? Gear up for another exciting season of college ball with a special offer from BetMGM. Sign into your BetMGM account and enjoy a college basketball odds boost token to snag even more winnings on your next bet. Just log into the BetMGM Sportsbook app, add any college basketball bet to your bet slip, and activate your odds boost token. If you win your bet with your token activated, you'll score extra winnings. It's that simple. Log in and enjoy our odds boost token to help you create another memorable season of college ball. Head for the net with BetMGM all season long. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. Must be 21 years of age or older. This promotional offer not available in D.C., Mississippi, New York, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. Subject to eligibility requirements in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
This is an important message for anyone struggling with $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or personal loans. Due to ongoing inflation, job loss, and the rising cost of living, many Americans are facing overwhelming credit card balances. If you're drowning in credit card debt, you may qualify for powerful debt relief options currently being offered by National Debt Relief that can significantly reduce what you owe. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a debt consolidation loan. You could qualify for this debt relief option and only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe. Act now to see if you qualify. With thousands of 5-star reviews online and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, National Debt Relief has helped over 1 million consumers with their debt that qualified for this relief option. So don't wait. Call the Debt Reduction Hotline now. Dial 800-649-6464. 800-649-6464. That's 800-649-6464. This is an important message for anyone struggling with $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or personal loans. Due to ongoing inflation, job loss, and the rising cost of living, many Americans are facing overwhelming credit card balances. If you're drowning in credit card debt, you may qualify for powerful debt relief options currently being offered by National Debt Relief that can significantly reduce what you owe. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a debt consolidation loan. You could qualify for this debt relief option and only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe. Act now to see if you qualify. With thousands of 5-star reviews online and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, National Debt Relief has helped over 1 million consumers with their debt that qualified for this relief option. So don't wait. Call the Debt Reduction Hotline now. Dial 800-649-6464. 800-649-6464. That's 800-649-6464.
The Early Game with former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Than it is about the team. Cannot play with them. Cannot win with them. Cannot
have plenty of winners to satisfy Coach Mike Singletary's request, brought to you every day by the Golden Spur in Preston Thorne. It's one of my favorite times of year because we get some of the best sad quotes. And sad quotes are my winners, right? Because the all-timer, I think the GOAT of sad quotes after a season ends is the kid from Boston College like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, after they went like 1-17 in their league play, or they went 0-18, I think, in the ACC, and they get bounced in the first day of the ACC tournament. And this reporter asked this player, what are your favorite memories of this season? How are you going to remember the year? He goes, he's like crying a little bit. He's sad. He goes, going out to eat.
Yeah.
Hanging out with his teammates. And I was like, yeah, it was one of those years. It was definitely one of those years.
Truer words have never been spoken, man. I mean, that is, people talk about what do you miss? It's like, yeah, definitely don't miss practice.
Yeah, right. And if you're not winning in games, you don't miss games either.
Exactly. So yeah, man, go hanging with the bros. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
But 1 year ago today, we got the funniest, like the truly funniest one, and that was from Virginia Tech's Toby Lawal. And this just came up on my timeline. I had to bring it up. The quote after they got eliminated in last year's ACC tournament. Quote, they thought we were going to be ass. I mean, we were still ass, but, we weren't that bad.
This was after they got eliminated?
Yes.
Listen, hey. Could that be applicable to Gamecock men's basketball? Because they thought we were going to be last. We weren't last, but,
we weren't that bad. It's one of those, every time I see it pop up, it's always going to be really funny to me.
I'm going to give a winner to mistaken identity. Because I regret to inform you and the audience, and it's been troubling me since it happened. I read the grid, and in my mind, Bradley Chubb was absolutely Nick Chubb.
No. I was gonna say, I was like, wow, Preston's selling high on Bradley Chubb here. I mean, I was gonna take your word for it. I was like, okay, it doesn't think he's gonna help the defense that much. Maybe Preston sees some things on tape with Bradley Chubb that
absolutely thought it was Nick Chubb, and I'm thinking like, all right, I mean, that's cool. Another running back. I thought we already did that, but okay, yeah. Wrong guy. So sorry about that, Bradley and Nick, mistaking you all for each other. It does change my rating a little bit. I do think this is a good signing for the Bills. Oh, okay. Tyler's just informed me that they're cousins. I don't feel so bad now.
Okay.
I don't feel so bad because I was like, but anyway. But the Bills have tried to do this already. They tried to do it with Bosa just recently. They tried to do it with your boy from the Broncos. Why am I blanking on his name? Von Miller. They've tried to secure that spot. So I wonder how it goes. But I am higher up on Bradley Chubb than I am on the signing of Nick Chubb. So mistaken identity, winner.
Bad omen for any Bills, edge rusher that is like a veteran edge rusher that they signed, because those last two fellows you mentioned did suffer season-ending injuries.
That's what I'm saying.
At one point during that season. Bad omen for Bradley Chubb. Maybe he can break the pattern.
Elijah, I read Bradley Chubb, and my mind automatically converted to Nick Chubb. It's like autocorrect on my mind phone.
Oh man! In one of our YouTube chats, because we have two going, because one has the video stream of my face, and then one of our actual video stream. Our pal Craig was mentioning a lack of paint touches in the second half for South Carolina, and I was like, yes, paint touches equals better shots, but I accidentally typed out pant touches, and those are completely different things.
Well, that's
completely different things.
That's not as bad as I thought it was, because better shots can be a very different autocorrect.
Oh, buddy, I've done that on Twitter before and had to do the quick delete. I've had some nightmare scenarios in those regards. You don't ever want to be there.
Better shots. I said shots.
Better shots. Shot selection. Shot with an O. in the last win or two. Predictions, because Preston predicted that the Ravens would not, or they nixed the Max Crosby trade because Trey Hendrickson's waiting around the corner. And then guess what time the game tipped off last night? Right at 9:41 on the dot.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
Lexington Health has been named a meritorious hospital by the American College of Surgeons for achieving exceptional surgical patient outcomes. Find world-class surgical care close to home. Visit lexhealth.com to learn more.
Sponsored by SC Education Lottery. Did you know that since 2002, more than 2.8 million lottery-funded scholarships such as the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow scholarships have been awarded to South Carolina students? Playing for fun is a win for education. Visit sceducationlottery.com/educationwins for more information.
The Gant family with Pioneer Tree Service has been taking care of trees in Columbia and surrounding areas for over 48 years. Pioneer Tree Service provides tree and shrub removal,